We count down at play and what not yet. Internet.
The phone.
We live already. Right, ladies and gentlemen, this now the hub of the conversation where they take place around the globe, not only domestically but internationally. And this now the TNN then and now media empire, and we bring warm greetings to Una. Today we got a very special guest, but before I go to that special guest, let me just say a few things. We do disagree for agree, and we all are Sierra Leoneans, and I believe say we want the best for our country, and this is what the argument is, but we can look at from different perspective. But in the end, now the good of we country now I want. The point I'm trying to make here is the quick house rules. We need to entertain expletives at this particular platform. We want constructive engagement in the chat room, and we strongly advise that people that when they view the live stream do just that, but with respect for one another. Today, we want to talk about so many things. And we're not familiar. There are so many things where they happen at the country. Just like it was yesterday, we've been to talk political things. Today, the tension don't ramp up because a lot of other things are happening devoid of what been happened yesterday. So, for example, we're going to talk about police brutality and the heavy-handedness of police. We're going to talk about reforms, structures, institutions, and you name it. And that will involve parliament or all the co-equal arms of government, parliament, the executive, and the judiciary. And then finally, we go talk about the All People's Congress. And who else forget as a better guest rather than the remarkable, astute lawyer stroke politician, Ade Macauley. Ade Macauley, welcome to the program, sir.
Oh, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Like I say, these are many things that we're going to touch on. And I want to begin straight with asking you something with very serious where they play out there in the media, which is you are a lawyer by profession, but at the same time, you do have political affiliation. And by your profession, you they represent people who are affiliated with a party where you kind of affiliated with. So I want to ask, how do you reconcile both, sir? Both your profession as a lawyer and then being in a courtroom, they exercise your professional duties, but still yet there is some form of allegiance, if you like, or affiliation, you will like, inside a courtroom. How do you reconcile this?
By virtue of the training I get as a barrister, you've been taught for get an open and objective mind about things that you participate in, and whether in that case you they take part in, you they put aside your sentiment and your professionalism and legal training, they take over. I think that is what has happened. Obviously I am now openly linked with the All People's Congress, and after I left the ACC, make a choice that I will be involved in politics somehow. And this is the reason why. When there was a change of government, I was treated as a politician. And, whether I was involved in politics or not, the effect of politics basically reached me. So make no mistake, even the electoral commissioner, they vote. And once they vote, it gets your own bias because not to two people they go vote for now one person. And so the person they go vote for now, then they bias to go towards. But that not mean say enough will be professional in what you do. So in all of this, I have tried as best as I can for be able for be remarkably professional and try for put me political affiliation and sentiment aside and look at things objectively.
Yeah, thank you for that answer, but I'll push back on that a little bit because I mean it's well structured answer per se, but the allegiance, the irony in all of this is like one thing where you mentioned, I make a one for pushback on a little bit. The NEC chairman is proven for be an associate, an affiliate of a particular political party. So even though, like you say, you're training as a barrister and probably your own training as a public servant, go try for project them in a kind of an image where they can look objective. But in the end, if you are affiliated with a particular structure, you sentiment go sort of tilt towards that structure there. And most likely the reason why they put you there in the first place, now because there's an affiliation. You go agree with that characterization, sir?
Um, I'm not going to agree with that characterization there.
So why,
As
sir?
I, well, because it depends on the individual integrity of the person. I mean, examples are abound in the world where in America you get during the Trump era, a attorney general come out and openly criticize him and say in open that he was wrong about certain things. You see, you
An
know,
associate. Sorry, sir. Go ahead, please.
you see somebody like Mike Pence, where basically he was a beneficiary of the personal discretion of Donald Trump for select him as his running mate. But when it came to matters of integrity, he stood out and took the side of integrity rather than the side of personal sentiment, saying "Nami political party this, Nami political party that." You know, we public servant and a alien, not everyone, but probably more so the one that we get for deal with issues relating to the politics of the day don't find it very, very difficult for divorce the political sentiment to the work way that they do. I mean, when you as the National Electoral Commission chairman fail for do things than what the law require you for do, then we go reach no other conclusion, or we go reach the inescapable conclusion that na political sentiments they direct you official actions. Take for example, in Ward 155 na Kwenedugu, you go recall that sometime last year we get a by-election there after the sitting councillor die. I mean, it came out that the All People's Congress candidate won the elections. When you go through the RRF forms where both the APC and the SLPP agent they get the correct numbers, containing them from the day. Then when you go to the tallying process, you see officials of NEC, they dishonestly, I put it that way, they input figures them. We're not in at the IRF forms them, where both the APC and the SLPP agent get. Those issues were raised. You look at them and say, oh yes, we don't see them, but when I raise the issues now, we're not going to change them again. And then go ahead and announce the SLPP candidate we lost. How you would change something from I think it was 09 to 100 votes. I mean, where the difference between the APC candidate and the SLPP candidate we win, it's about 10 votes. So the problem is this: we don't get a situation where, even though the APC candidate is not happy with the result or the outcome we um, announced, enable for petition na court. And the only reason why I make enable for petition na court is because you get section 139 and 140 of the Public Elections Act of 2012, we tell you say anybody we not happy with the outcome of an election, suppose for petition the election within 30 days from the date we then gazette them. And as I speak, the National Electoral Commission don't refuse for gazette the election for constituency effort ward 155, which means even though there were serious questions of fraud at the level of inputting and collating the result, the All People's Congress candidate not able for challenge the results because NEC don't feel for gazette them. And that is the worrying thing.
Okay, Mr. Macaulay, many thanks, and had a little break in there. Um, just want to go back quickly. I don't expect answers, but just want for imply this into this conversation that you mentioned two people in terms of integrity and the professional output. In terms of people that we serve under Donald Trump, in Attorney General, we happen for Bill Barr, and then in Vice President Mike Pence. On the record, Mike Pence waited over 1 year after Trump done lost the election for come out for openly criticizing boss. Bill Barr is noted to have provided a ring around Donald Trump and do many ugly things in protection of Donald Trump and the regime. They only fall out at the 11th hour when Trump was supposed to leave the presidency. But we need for carry on, and many thanks for that, sir. I want to talk to you and let you go explain to Fambulem about issues around police brutality. And this is serious, Mr. Macaulay. Now, we country, we know say people and get or the legal jurisprudence talk about innocent until proven guilty. We know say we want to talk about structures and reforms and institutions and ethics inside the profession or them body there. But lately, we know say there are records going back. But the idea when we talk about reform and things getting better, this not happen for be the case as time and again. We see heavy-handedness from the police. We see extrajudicious activities by the police and the court system wasting for day in collusion. You're not man where they in the know in terms of the police brutality. I wonder you talk to Fambulem regarding the institution called the police, whether a few bad apples now we get within this institution, or this has become the new normal, if you know what I mean, sir. So, dear, try to explain to we, but let we understand.
Okay, before I answer that question, Mike, I just go back to the comment we make about Donald Trump and Mike Pence, protecting Donald Trump. Probably you are right to an extent, but when it came to the issue of who wins the election in 2018, they come out on the side of integrity, even though now we in a power, a declaration of Trump as the winner will benefit we all. The vote of the people get for being reflected, and we're not going to sabotage that one day. So I just want to make that distinction there. As you know, the Sierra Leone police force, as in many other parts of the world, a police force now a force where they for protect the lives and properties of the citizen, regardless of tribe, regardless of political creed, regardless of social status. Everybody is seen as equal before the law and also entitled to equal protection of the law. But when it comes to the Sierra Leone police, it is disappointing to say that that particular rule did not apply to them. As you can see in several instances where in the past few months, they don't arrest, very prominent opposition leaders just because they express their views about the rule of law violations by the SLPPBO government. And when it comes to enforcing the law against members of the SLPP, where basically they commit crimes in the eyes of everybody, basically in public view, that they ignore them. I want to draw your attention to the first by-election in constituency 110. We all see there are videos of a certain minister, Cabinet Calon, basically handling a ballot box where you get one business day. We see a certain individual who we understand say they work in some government institution, take the ballot box, whap on a ground, kick them, scatter the ballot papers and all of that. Right in the presence of police officers with guns. They did nothing. And I don't tweet about that particular individual. They say, look, Anytime Sierra Leone police come and arrest somebody for something where basically not to an offense, I dey remind they say, una they fail for act when people they basically commit the real offenses and come out and act when people just they exercise their constitutional rights, whether now for as peacefully assemble, whether now for express then views. We also don't see someone like Austin Johnny don't put out audio stem where they threaten for annihilate. I mean, basically genocide. It basically they threaten genocide against former appointees and employees of the EBK regime. Nobody no call on a police. Nobody no arrest. I don't hear anything about that one day. But you get somebody like Diana Usman Fode Yansane, Dr. Dennis Bright, Femi Claudius Cole, coming out raising concerns over the conduct of a census way basically not be get national support. They were invited to the place. I represented two of them at the police station, and one of them was, detained overnight. And we see CDI at Tunis, being invited by the Sierra Leone police and detained for 2 nights just for doing the job of an opposition, for basically, mobilize the supporters them and give the awareness about the maladministration and rule of law violations where they take place under the Bio administration. And you see, you get a police force basically inviting him, questioning him, and locking in for 2 nights. I mean, the police, in my opinion, don't convert themselves to an SLPP protection force, and that is not good for them. It is not good for the people, and it is not good for the country, and not even good for the very Bio government way they try for basically say that they protect. So if making mark or grade the Sierra Leone police with respect to their performance in the political arena, I will give them 2/10. They have failed woefully.
Wow, that's
And
quite.
I
That's
must
quite. Yeah, go on,
Yes,
sir. Go on.
and I must add that very soon, if the Inspector General not changing ways, people will be coming out to ask for his resignation. We know say don't pass the age, way for don't retire now. I don't know which they don't do, if they don't renew, they don't get extension, but he shouldn't be there based on his present performance. He should leave. It don't show say we cannot trust him as an independent arbiter when it comes to the enforcement of the law against opposition members and the ruling party supporters.
Yes, Mr. Macaulay, lawyer Macaulay. The reason why then and now go always like for bringing you on the platform because now this hub, when they speak truth to power. Yes, there might be people who disagree with you, but of course they're entitled to their opinion, although they need for substantiate. Some claim to that opinion they will then represent of you or other individuals them. And such is what you're doing here tonight in terms of the police. You label the police, and this is it, because italics say it's just too much and somebody has to speak. That the police has been transformed into something else other than the police that is meant to serve and protect, and as an institution and instrument for the general public. But in this case, it is not. We don't see video, then we don't image of citizens being brutalized. I do have some of these videos, and some of them we will play them, like the Austin Johnny tip. I'm going to play it for the benefit of them one day where they in doubt. The statements made by Austin Johnny, which constitutes genocide for what he called for, was he ever invited? This is not bias or implicit, whatever way you want for call them. These are just relevant facts with the Sierra Leonean people and need for know. But lawyer Macaulay, having said this, I want to address the same issue on police, your double standards and brutality in this way. Many people prior to the one we will talk about now, which is a high-profile politician, when an APC spokesperson, Yaya Tunis, it did all over the media, and not only on local media, but on international press. But when it comes to the others, i.e., the ADP leader, of course, they don't get wider coverage by people like us every day. We continue for sure that because it's a travesty of justice, in we opinion, as we see them, and we editorial, but then kind same thing, and they will stand for. And Femi Claudius Cole, a woman we don't appear on this platform, a couple of times, great respect, and I think say they watch the program tonight. Respect to you, Femi Claudius Cole, and many others. We not see a galvanization. We not see an organization or total solidarity. You don't think so now because these issues or some of them were treated, by people way kind of sympathetic to one person in cause, but not generally. So therefore, the government continue for take the extrajudicious act or abuse the human rights of these same people because there is no collectivity in trying for protest or carry a voice of reason. Say then things they are
Hello?
not right. In the case, yeah, you hear me, sir? Okay, I think we don't lost the audio
I
from.
seem for the lost you.
Yes, me they hear you. I they hear you. Yeah, you dey hear me now?
Hello?
Yes, Ade.
I seem for the
Me
lost you.
No, no, put your camera back. Reverse your camera back. Yes. You dey hear me
Hello?
now? Yes, you dey hear me? Okay. If you not dey hear me, come out and come
Hello?
back in. Yes. Yeah, good one. I think he's gone out and come back in. That's a good one. Okay, Fambule, what I've been trying for say? It's like injustice to one is injustice to all. Injustice to one, I repeat, now injustice to all. If we must stand up for Yaya City Tunis today, not because you are affiliated with the party, because that one is a given. If now you party person, you need for support them. But the idea is there should be a general consensus on injustice. Fambulefuna get with they try for say. So when injustice appear on one side, we actually need for take okay, the lawyer is back,
Back.
the learned lawyer is back. So you back, sir. You hear me now?
Yeah, they get you.
Okay, brilliant stuff. Many thanks for that. What I've been trying for say is the injustice what we talk about, and quite telling the characterization you make of a national institution just now, the police force, because maybe they look at as a few bad apples. But from what you say, it seems that like there are many bad apples within the police force. And the police force, even though we don't go through reforms, it go through a really bad time. But Yaya Tunis, in arrest and detention, it made headlines locally and internationally. Whereas the arrest of Diana Konomani, Femi Claudius Cole, and the ADP leader who spent 3 Christmas inside jail, although we don't cover them a lot, but don't get much coverage as opposed to the particular one where they talk about Yaya Tunis. My point at the time for make Mr. Macaulay, lawyer Macaulay, is when issues of injustice appear somewhere, instead of we see them collectively and address them, instead the same affiliation, either party or fumble wise, now so we tend for the look. And so instead of collectively doing them, we dey do them individually, so it not get no effect. Don't you think this trend, if you agree with me, need to change? That injustice one side, injustice to one person is injustice everywhere and injustice for everybody.
I cannot agree with you more. But the Sierra Leonean society in a society where me go characterize as a stove that is a slow burner. When you light them, it burn small, small until it reach a point where it catch some big flames. It is symptomatic of the Sierra Leonean population. They are very slow to react to things and way really go affect their lives then tomorrow. Let me just give you an example. When Lara Taylor Pierce was only suspended pending an investigation, you see the kind of uproar, both nationally and internationally, when he attacked. But this is not the first one that this President Bill governments don't act illegally for remove or suspend people there from offices we get the protection of the law. Take, for example, the Anti-Corruption Commission. The protection we liability or Pierce get under Section 119
of the
4 and
Constitution.
5 of the Constitution.
Yeah.
Now, the same protection the Anti-Corruption Commissioner gets. When you want to remove the Anti-Corruption Commissioner, you get for set up a tribunal we made up of at least 2 court of appeal judges or people away qualify for be appointed as court of appeal judges. And if then come out with a report we conclude, say, the Anti-Corruption Commissioner don't misconduct himself, and as a result, they recommend for let they remove him. That report they send and go parliament for 2/3 majority votes. Now, the same kind of protection the office of the ombudsman self get under the constitution. So you just remove it. So you get for put together a commission we go investigate. You get for go through in a parliament where you will get a 2/3 majority vote of members of parliament before you remove them. But you see, they remove me. They remove me as ACC commissioner. They remove Melron Nicole Wilson as the ombudsman. The bank governor was removed. The chief justice Cham was basically threatened to resign, and all of this you not be get all the public uproar. I think it
Yeah.
all reach a point where people don't get enough, and I hope say this bio government really they open their eye and their ears, because we've reached the point where the Sierra Leoneans will no longer accept to be taken for a ride or be taken for a fool. Come 2023, we go know that at the full whether they go take for a ride.
Okay, that's much like a campaign slogan now, but there are many important things there where you say the lawyer Ade. And having said what you say, sir, so I guess you already say you can't agree with me, more that we not speak up then. So chances were taken, and once they see them loopholes there, because from the picture where you paint, these were abuses. And the question what we want to ask, I know they ask her now because we'll come to the conclusion, and there are so many things for Levy cover, is they manage to get away. Imagine the kind egregious behavior by a government, abusing processes and procedures, the law, and we continue for CR today. And this is what we've been highlighting in a platform like this one. Imagine the Chief Justice coerced, intimidated for commodity power. Imagine you. They don't have to agree with you, but there are processes and procedures regarding your job, even employment rules that I talk about in the case of Lara Pierce Taylor and now the Auditor General. But before the Auditor General, there were others. Now the case now you just make. But I want to play one quick tip, and I want to let you assess them, if you will, sir. This is it.
To start investigating somebody does not mean the person should step aside. And certainly, there is no law in Sierra Leone which says that.
So I go replay them again because now one side of an hour is very
To start investigating somebody does not mean the person should step aside. And certainly, there is no law in Sierra Leone which says that.
Your view, sir?
No, and I know I still know the hearing. It's still on the video, still on mute.
Oh, okay. Let's see whether
To start investigating somebody does not mean the person should step aside. And certainly, there is no law in Sierra Leone which says that.
Did you get that, sir?
I think it appeared in a video I don't see before.
Okay, so let's just go over quickly. This is the ACC boss, a position we don't occupy before, and luckily we get you here, and we know say you're not can shy away from constructive criticism. You are not a man known for sitting on the fence. You're a sharpshooter. You don't shoot from the hips. You shoot from the lips. So this video, now the current commissioner, they say that there is no law we say before an investigation, they get for remove you from your position. And contextually speaking, the Lara Pierce Taylor case. What says you, sir?
Well, we get for make a distinction between anti-corruption investigations and other investigations. I sure say Francis Ben Kaifala not be make that distinction there, but me go make that distinction there. When you look at the ACC Act, it make provision for suspension of public officers where they don't indict, but it not make provision for suspension of public officers the way they under investigations. But that notwithstanding, whilst I was commissioner of the ACC, there are circumstances where I believe, say, somebody who they investigate go likely interfere with the investigations where they conduct because he continue to occupy the position we did, and as for as long as he occupy that position there, I'm not able to do me work in terms of investigating him properly. So waiting I can usually do is now for talk to the people that we responsible or the bodies that we responsible for the appointment or discipline of that person there, and tell her and say, look, in as much as the law now within the anti-corruption context, the law not allow me to do this, but I believe say within unayon operating manual when I get the powers for ask somebody for stand aside for allow proper investigation for take place vis-a-vis things that we don't accuse them of. But when it comes to liability or peers, it comes to the anti-corruption commissioner, it comes to the ombudsman, it is very clear in law that if you don't get a commission of inquiry where they don't institute for investigate them, the law make provision for ask the people and they for step aside for enable a free, fair, and impartial tribunal or of investigation for gone. So I mean that is the distinction I will make. The ACC commissioner did not make that distinction. So probably that make quite a lot of people that get doubt with in that regard.
Okay, many thanks for that. Ladies and gentlemen, just a quick reminder that we have a very special program here today with a reputable lawyer, an astute astute politician, and he's none other than lawyer Macauley. And we they ask him for address a slew of issues. Lawyer, while they do this talking, if you can, I don't know whether you watch the program simultaneously, but if you can try for the power with me own camera, like you can see. In other words, if you know the watch arm, then you level it down. You need for come up a bit because the space be yes, okay, a little bit down, little bit up, half inch up, sir, up. A little bit more. Okay, that's acceptable. Okay, leave it right there. Brilliant stuff. Now we get a split screen. I love this. Thank you very much, sir. So, Fambulem, just for reminding you again, this is where we address many issues. We country day now a crossroad, and this is what we need for understand. The pot is boiling and the cup is about to runneth over. And this is a fact. I'm not saying this and I'm not an alarmist. For 6 years, I've been speaking on social media, and even though we all can get with inherent biases, but we try very hard for keep something we then call, I think that the lawyer and I mentioned, Andy, how you can reconcile. That's why the opening question was quite significant. How do you reconcile affiliation with your professionality? How do you reconcile both? And the lawyer answered Andy very well. Lawyer Adi, I want to go straight to Lara Piastello. And now, as we go deeply into this conversation, there's going to be a mixed match because we talk about corruption, we talk about Lara Piastello, contextually, Yvonne Akisoya, whom I believe you are representing. I know there are things that you will say and things that you won't say because you can't compromise the case because you're party of interest or whatever I may call. Now, I want you express your sentiment, about Lara Piastello, i.e., suspension. In other words, processes and procedures. Because one of the things that we will try for explain now is you get a prerogative for do something, but in terms of the law, processes and procedures are applicable. Has it been respected in this regard? But let me give you a chance for express your sentiment on the suspension of this law, Auditor General.
Well, whilst the president under the Constitution gets the power for suspend or ask the Auditor General for step aside pending investigation, we therefore separate the issues of the power to do something and the processes that you go through to do for exercise the power you get. In terms of Laya Taylor Pierce, you get section 119, subsection 7 of the Constitution. We talk about the removal of the Auditor General of Sierra Leone. So it basically say the same process we use for remove judges under section 137, subsection 5 of the Constitution of Sierra Leone. The same process we they use for remove judges of the Superior Court of Judicature. Now the same process they use for remove
Now for
the
breakdown it down for me quickly where you say judicature or whatever. You know, say
so
we for
basically
free. Yes, sir.
judges the way they between the High Court and the Supreme Court of Sierra Leone. Now they would they call judges of the Superior Court. I mean the High Court, the Court of Appeal, and the Supreme Court. These are the Superior Court of Judicature in the
Thank you
Republic
very
of Sierra
much.
Leone. They are the senior ones.
Thank
So
you.
so you get procedures the way they use for remove them. Take for example, if they feel say a judge don't misconduct themselves and representation, they don't make a representation to the Judicial and Legal Service Commission. Obviously, the Judicial and Legal Service Commission are a commission where now then they look, because don't forget, you want a judiciary that is independent. And if you get for deal with the independence of the judiciary, you get for deal with the employment, you get for deal with the removal. So the Judicial and Legal Service Commission, where is made up of persons representing the Bar Association, the Solicitor General, the Public Service Commission, the Attorney General. I mean, this is a mixture of persons then we now they're responsible for making representation to the president that we don't look at them people here and we believe say there is a vacancy in the judiciary way so and so person fit the profile of somebody who therefore appoint, you get the integrity of somebody who therefore appoint as a judge. So we they make recommendation to you, Mr. President, for appointment. So the president go appoint and the Senate and go parliament. Likewise, when you want for remove them, if anybody get complaint, you the director complaint then at the Judicial and Legal Service Commission, where you look at the complaint and try for assessor whether or not, in fact, the complaint get any merit. If so, if you don't reach the threshold of misconduct way, therefore make a representation to the president for a removal. Now, only after they make a representation, the Judicial and Legal Service Commission make a representation to the president for the removal of this judge. Now, the president will appoint a tribunal for look into the conduct of that particular judge, the way they complain of, and also the president get the power for set aside the judge pending the outcome of the investigations. So now the same procedure now in section 119 subsection 9 say where you can for remove the auditor general. Now the same procedure under section 137 where they for remove judges of the Superior Court of Judicature. Now the same procedure you for use. So now let's ask ourselves the question: did the Judicial and Legal Service Commission make representation to the president that it don't receive a report where in their own opinion it is serious enough for represent to the president say the auditor general ought to be investigated? That question is a big no. Don't forget that it was only after the president don't appoint a tribunal and set aside Lara Tilopia's way, some of we come out, go on Twitter and express an outrage over what it happened at the time the president come back to the Judicial and Legal Service Commission and try for basically undo the things that we don't do, which of course it was pretty late. Even civil society organizations that are pretty sympathetic to the government come out and say, look, Mr. President, we believe so you're doing all right. You can go back, undo them and start again. So we see Basita Michael resigned from the Judicial and Legal Service Commission because in his opinion, the Judicial and Legal Service Commission has been compromised. Given that, then go and endorse an action where president don't take away a BC. Now then for don't recommend to president first, because you want to separate the judiciary from the presidency, basically for take away the judiciary from politics. Now it make you get the Judicial and Legal Service Commission when are the people that we know to politician and we for look at waiting the judge don't do in this case Layatil or Pierce don't do as account auditor general and make recommendation. And it's basically ironical for CC, on the eve of the auditor general report coming out. It's quite. I mean, it not go
Yeah.
pass the smell test. That one they not go pass the smell test. Obviously, usually I will tell you this: the auditor generals them to not courtesy, they afford the government of the day. You report and tell if they get any, they will issue management letters and they say that this and this and this we don't find out to come out and try
Can't defend
for
them.
can defend them. And
Yeah.
based on what we now know that we are wrangling, and when they basically become aware, say, Madam Layatil or Pierce is in no mood for accept, say, certain
And then
receipts
treat
and
her
they
this
will.
way.
So she was removed. And even when
Yeah.
they remove them, I
Yeah.
mean, the audit report was damning, especially against the office of the president for the very first time. An audit report.
Lawyer Adebakoli, you get for forgive me for budgeting because you are exciting me, and I believe you are exciting the listeners on the live view now, and subsequently the other people that we get for listen to this, they will be excited because what you're doing is typical of a lawyer. People that with critical, constructive criticism, but you they create a pathway you need for follow, and that's what you're doing. And this should not come as a surprise because you're a learned man, you know the law, and that's what we establish now. Motive. That's what it is. So what I want to say, lawyer, because I get boku questions for ask you on this. And as you can see, even me as the interviewer, I must confess to we listen in public that I'm getting a little bit excited because I've been saying this for like weeks. And now I've got a man in the know, a man who is on the inside, who's been on the inside, who's occupied them position there. Is saying basically, paraphrasing what you would only say, not because we did in tandem deliberately, because that is just the fact. FACT in caps. Macauley, Basita Michael resigning position. There are many things you said just now being for break you day because I want let fumble and take them. It's almost like a teaching moment. Let fumble and take them for understand. And this is now one of the reasons we will bring you come. The propaganda on social media is messy. And I can tell you 70% by sample pools where we can conduct, not to just talk. Now, social propaganda, APC versus SLPP vis-a-vis SLPP versus APC. But in between there lies the truth. The truth is between 30% and 20%, but it's been muddied up by then thing their way all man they throw into them. The APC get their own media platforms. The SLPP get their own media platforms, and every one of them they try to mount the white horse. In between there is the Sierra Leonean people, which I believe, even though by virtue of your affiliation, you're just speaking the truth as per the law. And we said it, processes and procedures. So president get the prerogative. The law is there, but there's been a rampant abuse of processes and procedures. Staying with the issue of Lara Pierce Taylor, Mr. Lawyer Ade Macauley, okay, and stroke the ACC commissioner, stroke the complainant on this particular case. If you not get complainant, Lawyer Macauley, when they finally set up the tribunal, even though there are questions about the tribunal, and we will go to that. Now, who that get for appear for go justify the complaints against Madam Lara Pierce Taylor, who was not given the opportunity with the provision of this complaint, so that way it go into defense, assuming theoretically now you been the representative, you need to forget all the facts as per the complainant. I guess you know where I'm going with this. Let's hear your sentiment and your opinion, Lawyer Macauley.
So basically, this is it. As I say earlier, now the Judicial and Legal Service Commission for make representation to the president say we don't get material where we don't look at, where we don't form an interim opinion, say there is a basis for make you institute a tribunal against the
And in
Auditor
short,
General.
this is not the case, sir.
It is not the case. And you know, 30 days, nobody know able to tell what liar do. And in fact, for make the Judicial and Legal Service Commission make an opinion, an interim opinion on whether or not for make a representation to the president, you must not provide them with material. And again, I will make a reference to Madam Basita Michael, where as part of a resignation letter, he said nobody not put before any evidence we
Yeah.
in see
Yeah.
for
We
reach
did.
the conclusion, for help them reach the conclusion, say the Auditor General ought to be
Removed.
well, not removed.
A
The auditor,
suspension.
the ought for don't make a representation to the presidency. The Auditor General ought to be investigated by a commission. So now on
So,
that basis,
so when
and
Basita, when
just hold
Basita,
on for me.
yeah,
Basita Michael is someone with very high integrity, and you don't get any reason for come out. He's not a person that is political. I mean, you know the views of Basita Michael when the APC was in governance, and you know the
absolutely, sir.
views of Basita Michael when the SLPP is in governance. I mean, they have not changed at all. The only thing that has changed is the players, but in message has been consistent.
Consistent. Yeah.
Follow the rule of law.
Yes, sir. Ade. I mean, you are spot on. And we say this again based on the record because the next question, but now you don't answer. So you seem for the in queue and you're following, sir. Wait for don't be you view about Basita Michael, but now you don't highlight so. But we said it in subsequent publication the way we get. Last week, the week before last, and about 6 weeks ago, this impeccable character. We even mentioned Bintu Mani 3 in which she did not agree with the structure of Bintumani 3 and potentially the outcome. She's been consistent in the message, and we can't agree with you more that the woman has been consistent. The only changes have been the players, but every time they address the issue. And we want to thank you very, very much. I want to move on, but this not to the end of the Larapia Taylor case because it's so interesting, but because of time. Another interesting case now we country right now is that of the people's mayor acting like for characterize them because after all, she won by a vast majority. So I say the people's mayor. That now her worship Yvonne Akisoya. She's now, before the courts na Sierra Leone, in which then they try for portray him as a different kind of mayor. But then we look at those that are trying to portray them as the different kind of mayor. We go give them the benefit of doubt. But because we also get the benefit of hindsight, looking back at patterns and behaviors, we say, we ask you, and we understand saying that you represent the mayor. We know say there are things that you can talk about because the case didn't court. But express your sentiment and let's take it from there. What's your take on this entire thing about Mayor Akisoya, stroke the ACC, stroke Parliament? Would that take precedent over this particular case? Parliament or the ACC?
First of all, let me just correct you. This case no reach na court yet, and
Yes,
I
sir.
am absolutely confident that we will not get to court.
Okay. Brilliant. Yeah, okay. Like I've been say, sir, thank you for that correction there, and I appreciate it because yeah, it is true that the case not going to court. But the idea is the ACC boss, the anti-corruption boss, has weighed into this. In other words, the mayor is being accused of corruption. And this corruption, where they accuse the mayor of, they even quote some of the law, brother, which is what Francis Ben Kaifala do, and that's something where you go very familiar with because you don't serve in that same capacity. The ACC law section 89 1B, where they amend in 2008, say when the ACC boss accuse them, it gets some kind of a right to take the case further. I guess you understand where I'm going with this. All of this material might not be right, but this is it. Yeah, in terms of section 89 1B, something where you're familiar with. The idea is the mayor of the city of Freetown is being accused of corruption. Again, once more, the issue of processes and procedures regarding the mayor and many other things, because it don't articulate that in terms of donor sourcing, implementation partners, and then process then they in question. But yet people are making a judgment say the mayor is guilty of corruption. We know say the law has to say that she is guilty. So I want you address this, sir, if you get where I'm going with this. Would they see you don't come? I don't know what you do with your camera, We're going to see you. You need for break and come back to the default position. Okay, we don't lost Ade Macaulay briefly. This is quite interesting. So what do we go do whilst we don't lost lawyer Macaulay briefly? Let we see whether we able to go into a Facebook page. Let we see whether we able to go into a Facebook page and we YouTube page for see waiting at the comments where fumble and don't make they. Let we recognize some people. It's not being selective in the sense that maybe favoritism, because we know what social media is like now, but we just want for say the comments where fumble and understand that we know what social media. Okay, so I just want to read a few comments and recognize few people. This is quite interesting. Pose Kamara, okay, video she was advising. Thank you, Sister Pose. George Orwell, sorry to say Ben is erroneously lying to the public because he just gave a blanket statement to imply that while someone is under investigation, that person should not be suspended. Una bear with me because I think say lawyer Ade Macaulay has re-entered the platform. Una bear with me, I believe say lawyer Ade Macaulay has just re-entered the platform. Yeah, bear with me. So I believe the lawyer the Macaulay has just re-entered the platform. We lost him briefly. Lawyer Macaulay, they get me, sir?
Yes, I did get you.
Okay, just bear with me right there because during the loss where we lost you, we try for due diligence by acknowledging people in the platform, then comments and then views, which is quite important to us, sir. Has re-entered. So okay, that's a backblast we call them in media. Potter Camara, we don't read you. George Orwell, sorry to say Ben is erroneously lying to the public because he just gave a blanket statement to imply that while someone is under investigation, person should not be suspended. So now that video have been a play where you know been getting now in this person they try for address. Ben Kaifala say, yes, sir. So we get the gist now. John Bowoma Jaya Jalingo. Wow, such a name. And this obviously you're able to identify the name in the very first time. Thank you very much, Mr. Macaulay. What legal and moral authority do you have to question this administration on corruption when you were doing the same thing they are doing now? Your investigations were selective and very biased. Your office had a secret indictment against Vice President Victor Bokari. I'm sure your case against him was primarily biased on the fact that he is a South. Of course, you know, upper not just opinion. One thing I can say for sure, the question where you are and you're entitled to, and thank God not to cause, is fair enough, okay? But to me, it sounds like you did try for imply that two wrongs make right, because assuming that yesterday was wrong, and today is equally wrong, so the two wrongs make right. We don't go along with that. But hopefully, a lawyer will address that. Israel Ujeka Papa Senior, but Prince, our name is still Opias, not Opias.
That's very true.
Yeah, that's very true. And I apologize to Madam Piastelo, who I believe is watching
Still
this
up,
program.
yes.
Yes, thank you very much. Aki always mix and match and I sincerely apologize. But the greatness about this is like people understand exactly who I'm talking about. No personal interest and no offense. But Tilopias, my apologies. I'm watching and learning at the Lancabo. John Pesima, one of the funny people that working kind of social media, go police back talk where you not get, where you limited, you IQ limited. This is what you say, go police. Disgraceful. David Cabo, Congo sir, you don't come with your cocoa behavior. Okay. Yeah. Then get people away can address each other. Luckily, then they use with usual parlance way locally accepted. Bravo, lawyer Ade Macaulay, that's Mega Rogers right. Mad Massive Van Davis, and you are in the light, awful. Okay, then they address that idiot, some idiot way talk something. Are they what the constitution about the removal of the vice president? Of course, we know who exactly this question they come out and who they pose them. And maybe if we offend them, we will pose that to Ade Macaulay, but we get serious things there for attend to. Marie Conte, hi Ade Macaulay, Massivan. Instead of being respected to the teachings of the fine lawyer, you busy yourself with self-embarrassment I get to side and they come out as well. Anyway, I don't read few and we don't recognize few people, but there's so much things for let we cover. So once again, let's switch over to this distinguished lawyer, this career lawyer and stroke politician. Lawyer Macauley, you know Usa will last left, and I want to give you the opportunity back because now you go, now you come, due to technical issues.
Okay.
If you recollect Usa Ubinde, can you take it from there, sir?
Yes, before taking it there, it's very interesting. You get people on the platform where they express their views, some to the extent of, throwing mud and using invectives, but they are free to do so. Nobody no arrest them. But you get an APC politician, CDI at Tunis, we just come out on the radio and talk, say, look, we demobilize with people and make sure, say, we educate them for come out in 2023 and take legitimate actions for remove this government's come out na power. And he was arrested for that. But this is the beauty. In any case, the issue of Mayor Yvonne Akisoya, it is unfortunate that even the media, they make reference to the issue as a corruption issue. It is not a corruption issue. It is not a corruption issue. When we talk about corruption, it is basically someone committing an offense under the Anti-Corruption Act as per Section 7 of the Act. So now, let we put things in context. Make we simplify. What's in the issue now? The issue is this. When the mayor come and take over as the mayor of the city of Freetown, he find out, say, the kind plans then we get for the city. You not get people there within the municipality office. We get the necessary technical know-how for able for help and for implement in vision. So what you need to do is now for approach the Irish aid, where the Irish government, the international development body, where say, look, we need for open an office where they call the mayor's delivery unit. And I understand USAI, the mayor's delivery unit, they come out. It basically came out from the presidential delivery unit. It was called the PDT under the EBK government, and that was sponsored by the Department for International Development, IFID. So basically, what in this presidential delivery team or unit be there for? Now, for make sure, say, all the presidents informs them the things away, the priorities of government, then put her in a small cluster where the president get a bird's eye over them. We get a special team where they monitor how they implement the policies, then the presidential delivery areas today. And it is interesting to know that every Thursday, ministers and heads of MDs, they go to State House for go and talk about the achievements, them, what they know able to achieve, why they not achieve them, what are the obstacles. It's basically to make sure that you get a very good administrative setup for deliver on electoral promises. So when the mayor came, she was the head of that presidential delivery unit at State House. So when he came, he said, okay, I think this is what we need. Then you get the Irish government through the Irish aid. They make provision where they say, okay, we go look after part of the functions of the mayor's delivery unit. The way we go recruit a staff, we go pay their salary and do other things. But we not go pay for air ticket and traveling expenses. Then they will go pull on our own budget. And basically, someone was recruited. And this person that was recruited is a professional. Now that person, they don't help the mayor. For reach outside the mayor, don't reach so in terms of attracting funding. It will be interesting for let you note, say, without major cargo in professional input, the mayor not for don't achieve most of the things that we achieve in terms of attracting funding.
Lawyer Macauley, I know you did in free flow. but it's important that I jot in at this particular time because one of the issues or accusations that are being levied against the mayor is using family connection, which is something regarding to cronyism, kleptocracy, and you name it. And this is not something where you know very well. The reason again why I pause you, you mentioned a name, and I've been just one for let you use this opportunity for explain to the general public that Bacon Street. There are accusations that the mayor used a family of hers, okay, in terms of implementing a project there. So there seems to be a conflict of interest right there. You just mentioned
Udana, this family of hers we use
they say
because
insist. They say insist.
well,
Macaulay, and I know that
to,
you
to, be,
represent them. So you
to be
see the
honest
point
with
here.
you, I want to make we separate the issues. You know, we don't see quite a lot of social media um, 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 post them about what did the mayor do, what did the mayor not do. I mean, I am representing her. The accusations against the mayor now the ACC is that he use FCC money for buy ticket and pay per diem to Miata to Manja Kagbo, we not to a staff, a direct staff of the Freetown City Council. There is nothing there about the mayor recruiting sisters or relatives. That's
Oh no,
just
no, no, no!
bollocks.
Hang on right there, hang on right there, lawyer Macaulay. Hang on right there. And one of the reasons again, and this question is quite important, or this analysis where you they make. So you say something very important. We need for separate, yeah, the real issues from the rest of the rubbish. And at that make again, I ask this question. So you mentioned two names. Remember, I say you've been there in good flow, and I therefore take your permission, say, do you allow me for bought in? So waiting the ACC, the charges when the ACC file against the mayor, there is nothing of this kind. But inside social media or public opinion, lawyer Macaulay, we have huge influence pan with people them, and this is why I'm seeking clarification, sir, if you go understand. They are saying that these names that have been mentioned are people who are related. In other words, there is one account by a prominent public person who served under the Aswal government of Anes by Koroma, who is also your client, saying that one of these persons happened to be the sister to the mayor. So there's a conflict of interest there, if you understand. So if you can use the platform tonight for address this issue once and for all, because we go cut them and post them out, just this particular clip, so everybody get it that the man where they represent the mayor, they don't speak on a legal basis about this social media talk on the talk when are just sleazy drama. Of course, there's a lot of Sierra Leoneans they're interested. I guess you know what they talk about, sir. So they are just tailor this for you and address the Sierra Leonean people once and for all on this issue, sir.
So on the issue of the Mayor Ivona Kinsoya and the ACC, the allegations where the ACC get against the mayor is that he used Freetown City Council funds for buy air ticket and pay per diem to an individual that is Manja Kagbo, we not related to the mayor, say a PM and buy ticket for travel and PM per diem, we to a direct recruited staff by the FCC. Even though it work for the mayor's delivery unit, they say no to the FCC recruiter. So the FCC no for use money when a FCC money for buying air tickets and for PM per diem. But again, when you take the benefit, you must also take the burden. Okay, before I reach here, the issue of the mayor conflicting herself by employing or giving contracts to family is just nonsense. I mean, there is nothing like that.
Thank you
It's just
very much, and
nonsense.
continue on that note today because this is exactly the
No,
clarification where we seek.
it's
Because
nonsense. There
it's
is
making the
nothing in the
headlines in social
there is
media.
nothing. I mean, I should say when I don't see the investigation conclusion letter with the ACC sent to the mayor within our social media. There is nothing there in the ACC conclusion we accuse the mayor of conflict of interest vis-a-vis, dealings with family members in a function as mayor of the city. That is just, in fact, now Sontiwe, I know they get any
Credence
air
too.
of relevance or credence to, and I know they even talk about them again
Yes, sir.
because,
Let's move on. Absolutely, I
people are
support
free.
you in that. Yeah, let's move on.
So now let us talk about Manja Cargo. You not they take the benefit, you left the burden. What I mean? Manja Cargo come, they work as a consultant. Not forget, say, even the president, na State House, gets quite a lot of consultants in there. We na public funds that they use for pay them. Not to the Public Service Commission recruits them all. They don't go through any of the recruitment processes. They were directly appointed by the president. And not forget, say, the mayor is the chief executive of the city. It gets in your executive powers of appointment. And that is what she did. That was
Thank you
what
very
she
much.
did.
The
In
landlord of the
executive
city of
powers
Lagos.
as a mayor for appoint consultants, then for help them in achieving in work. I mean, it is interesting to note that most of the work we Manja Cargo do get for do with liaising, writing projects, sourcing funds, and liaising with international donors and other municipalities all over the world. And in this age of technology, you can only do that by Zoom, emails, and all of that. And in part of the mayor in statement where I don't see in ACC, he say the chief administrator say, like email business. So, like email business. So basically, the mayor bringing people away, they help them out in quest for generate funds. Not forget, say, just on the licenses fees, the local tax, and the property rates, not able for fund the activities of the municipality, more so where we don't get decentralization taking place. So what did the mayor do? The mayor, as an expert in finance and management, get contact them where he try for make use of. Approach international philanthropists, them organizations, Jeff Bezos, Michael Bloomberg, and it will interest you for no say now Manja Cargo, now the policy will be they coordinate and make presentation all over the world vis-a-vis raising them funds here. And as you know, the mayor just don't win $1 million from the Bloomberg initiative for cash spend na the Freetown municipality for improvement. And without Manja, that 1 million day, not for don't come. So the reason why they make this point is that we all happy say we municipality don't get $1 million way the Bloomberg Foundation don't give for make the guy help with the administration of the city. But the person when at the Sababu we help we for put together a project, we do the presentation for make the Bloomberg Foundation see say, oh, okay, I think there is merit in us putting money in the Freetown City Council. The $20,000 where they use for buying ticket them, for paying per diem, for go spend this money, they say because not to Freetown City Council directly employ them. I'm using the word directly, purposely, and they do them deliberately. When you talk about direct employment, it's that it not go through the Freetown City Council recruitment process, just like the central government, where you go through the HRMO or the Public Service Commission for employ public servants. But notwithstanding, the president gets executive powers for appoint people then on consultancy basis for help them for achieve a manifesto promises. And as I've said, the mayor, now the chief executive of the Freetown municipality, he equally get the powers for appoint consultants them for help them in the work where they do for achieve and promises them for make sure say Freetown become a better city. So now it when they give me this, when I get this brief, I say make I go back and look at the audit report we basically now the genesis of all of this. Now the same page, who say they accuse the mayor say it buy ticket and give per diem to consultant we know to the we know to the Freetown City Council directly employed. The same page, the 2019 audit report say the first lady in office take an individual wey they call Paul Masakwe, care and go na a meeting in Niamey, buy tickets for am, pay am per diem from public funds wey e no dey work for government, wey to government recruit am. The secretary to president wey responsible for the administration within the presidency report back and reply to the auditor general say, well, yes, this person no dey work directly for government, but this person na a consultant to the first lady. They provide the first lady service system,
So double
consultancy
standards,
service
Lawyer
system.
Macaulay.
So basically, it's the double standards that I'm talking about. So
Thank you
tell
very
me,
much.
so now make I say even the media, not for they use the word corruption with relation to this case. They not say the mayor tifo. They not say Madam Mayor take money, put her in pocket. They not say Madam Mayor say he buy something we not buy you. They not say Madam Mayor say he pay somebody per diem we not pay you. Or he say he buy ticket for somebody we not fly you. No. They say Madam Mayor buy ticket and pay somebody per diem wey no to Freetown City Council directly employ am. Then they forget say the mayor himself get the power for appoint consultants then in the performance of him function. Take for
Thank you very much.
example,
Yeah, go on. Go on.
take for example, when the government of Sierra Leone they give consultancies to international consultants them for can help we on structural issues within we administration them. Who that they buy the tickets? Who that they pay them per diem? Are they working for government? No, they are consultants. A consultant is a consultant. And let me give you this. When I was at the ACC, when I just entered the ACC, I was a consultant prosecutor. I'm not going to work for the ACC as a recruited prosecutor. I was a consultant. And when I be the travel out of the country on ACC matters, I was traveling as a consultant prosecutor to the ACC. Now, government money, where they be budget for ACC, now they be use for buy me ticket, for pay me per diem, and nobody no ever go against any other person with regards to that. And I will tell you, the present ACC administration is doing the same thing. There are consultants there. There are consultants working for the ACC. I mean, when the Anti-Corruption Commission, they go, they do public engagements in Abo, Kenima, and other places. Then they carry media team with them. Then they use government provided for money, budgeted for money at the ACC for pay them journalists. Then the way they go cover their functions and they yes, then they pay them per diem out of government money. Are they persons recruited or employed by government? No, but because the work what they do now for go make sure say they help the ACC in preaching the message of anti-corruption at the country. So you want tell me say therefore go back after the ACC and ask them for pay all their money then they just
The
because those
answer,
journalists.
the answer to that, sir, is no. We get many things them for cover, for still cover, and ladies and gentlemen, this conversation here with me and lawyer Ade Macaulay is really interesting. I wish we would have broken down into segments of 3 because we'll not be one bother una with so much. Imagine there's so much to say, but in a compact situation in which we get other things then for cover. And we really happy with the clarifications of them things there because social media don't go overdrive as a consequence of drama being posted against the mayor. But what I want to let people note, here is a man who is a lawyer representing the mayor. Of course, he's got interest, but you can judge that interest in the future. But we get many issues there now regarding the benefit of hindsight, which we opine on. And luckily for we today, on the TNN TV media empire, we have none other. What better guest can you have than lawyer Ade Macaulay? Lawyer Ade Macaulay, just staying briefly on the issue of the mayor, where I think say you don't spend a great deal of time on, but quite necessarily so. People and where they throw invectives, and these are prominent people in our society, big stake players in the society. Waiting you don't say on contrary to waiting then they say. And these are people who are influencers of some kind because then they run a division of public opinion on social media. Call the mayor all kinds of names. What you articulate as well is the power of the mayor, constitutionally speaking. And the way me can like for put is this mayor na the landlord na freedom. Because we sort of get this conflict in which the house of the president is in Freetown, but people fail to recognize this mayor is so powerful that now in the landlord. Now in the host the presidency, of course, they can find way for meander around, the technicalities around this. The same thing that happen at major capitals. The UK, where I am, where I believe you are tonight, sir, the same thing appeals to the mayor. The mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, is very, very powerful. And not mean say where government hold funds something where they're supposed for give the mayor, then that means say the government more powerful and just they try for bully them and take them position. The same is true of the greatest country on earth as we speak now, although they in the state of diminishing. That's not the United States. Inside Washington, D.C., Prince George's County, the governor there, now the most powerful person, even though it sits the house where they call the White House. So is the mayor of Freetown, constitutionally speaking, sir, and you will know this better than I do. But are we speaking too late, Lawyer Macauley, in terms of articulating then things they are not to for side with people and per se, specifically, but waiting at the laws around this? Because after all, it seemed like the friction now Freetown there between the mayor and others is simply because the mayor come up from one party and the ruling government come up from the other party, and you can see a kind of natural friction there. But the tempo is being stepped up, and the other day I describe them as a soft coup because they get all kind of people they throw something against this mayor, and she's a woman for God's sake in a patriarchal society. How much more can the mayor take? How much more can your client take? And before you answer this, I know say you don't weigh in on that little bit, but I want to let you talk about processes and procedures were very key to this conversation where we have vis-a-vis the mayor of the municipality of Freetown, donor money the way they come to the mayor where you talk about, but I want to let you talk about in specific waiting at the power of the mayor where money come and how they can use the processes and procedures like they use different implementing partners. I know you mentioned two names because some people are not see them as being directly employed by the mayor. Now he has an issue, but waiting then at the court of justice nas alone, not waiting social media they talk. I want you re-emphasize on that again, Lawyer Ademacauley, if you get exactly what I'm trying to go to, sir. Because I want to lay this issue once and for all to rest, so that prominent people, when they try for bring division, it shouldn't go down because good people like you are addressing the issue as they are.
Okay. I can always like for give context to issues they were they discuss. So the people where they watch and listen to me go able to forget them. Right. When I was commissioner of the ACC, the British government through the Department for International Development promised for the ACC 4.5 million pounds for implement the pay no bribe campaign. And waiting the British government do, they not take the money and give in our hand, then bring come an implementing partner where we they work with, we not to the money they pass for make we implement. So basically, we are just beneficiaries of the pay no bribe campaign funding with the British government, the fund. But we actually not be directly receive the money from the British government. And it's the same thing with the mayor. Take, for example, the mayor say, I want transit stations them. Waiting at the transit stations, and then stations they also you go to way Dotina area before the big truck then can pick can go na bomb. Not to mayor in hand and put that money there. Say you go build transit stations. Even though na Freetown municipality na the beneficiary, the EU and other bodies, they will fund the construction of the transit stations, and they give the contract to somebody else for building transit stations. And if there is a problem with the construction or the management of their funds, and the mayor way na the only thing where he gets by the transaction, that she is the beneficiary of the implementation. Now, mayor, you can all, or you dey go to the person where they put money in and when I implement the project. And this is something we get for draw a distinction from. Take, for example, some of the things the way Parliament they call the mayor on, oh, get for audit you on this one, for audit you on that. The mayor simply don't tell and say, I am just a beneficiary. If una want for know how the money pass, how e not pass, how they do with the money, which they not do with the money, una go to that person there. Now in and give money, now in buy cement, now in buy shovel, now in buy iron rod, now in buy cement, now in friend contractor, now in bill. Me not get nothing for do with that. The only thing we maybe they do was now for monitor for make sure say we get value for money. So let us stop throwing shades. Look, Mayor Yvonne Akisoya, before becoming the mayor of Freetown City Council, was a recognized professional in the United Kingdom. As you know, she was recognized by no less a person than the Queen. You know, you the UK, you know what it mean for make the Queen on Honors Day recognize you and you an OBE. It means something huge. So for make Yvonne don't go through that face day, for go back na salon for begin face then kind attempt for because I go call her an attempt for brand candor. It's really unfortunate. But you know what? You cannot bring down a good man. You cannot bring down a good woman. She's done well for herself. She's done well for the municipality. I mean, look at the projects them way don't come through. For the very first time, we get na saloon a liquid waste processing plant. Not even central government now this country don't ever able to do that one day. Yvonne Akisoya is the first to have done that. You go na Bome now, when they go bail people and send speech tank, they're not just they go through and a ground like how it be happened before, where they bring all kinds sick and all kinds smell at the municipality. Now you get a liquid processing plant where they process the deposit they and turn it into manure and other things there. So I believe she's got a very thick skin. She's a human. Sometimes these things I am sure get into her, but she's got a thick skin.
Yes, Lawyer Macaulay,
She's
I
got
can't
a
say.
pretty thick skin. Hello?
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you, sir.
Hello?
Yes, I hear you. I hear you.
Hello?
Just keep on talking. Keep on talking. I hear you.
Hello?
You just see the video. Keep on. Okay. So we lost Macaulay briefly, but of course he's smart enough. He's done these interviews many times, so he's gone off and he will be coming back in. Fambulem, this na the Then Now Media Empire platform, and what we bring to una is unheard of anywhere else. In other words, we address real issues, talk to real people. We put the case before una, and then una make the decision. Today we will talk about a slew of issues affecting we country, Sierra Leone. Hopefully, we are all learning. We are all learning. So, yeah, Lawyer Macaulay, you are back. We've been hearing you. Of course, you don't make the points right there, and I believe you hear you back. We don't establish
Yes.
audio. Yes, thank you so much
So
for. Yeah, you still want to continue for make one quick
no,
point?
no, no. Yes. Well, the point why they try to make is that Yvonne Akisoya, the mayor of the municipality of Freetown, go put in case across, because for me, this is not a corruption issue. This is a political issue, and it will be dealt with politically.
Okay, just before I move away from the Sawyer case, just quickly, if you can take seconds for just answer this. Obviously, the name of the people's mayor I can elect for, because I do send, few, I must make them public. As per waiting at the do, I do send messages, to senior players, stakeholders, and this includes the mayor. I have looked at something where you say this, no, in other words, I'm interested in the transformation of the capital city, one of the oldest African capital city to be transformed. There are difficulties, there are challenges. Obviously, this was a city created for tens of thousands of people. Today, as we speak, it's over 1 million plus people. So everything in that capital has been exhausted. So it's a challenging task for the mayor. But notwithstanding, they don't do or decide for do so much, and it they in pen and paper, black and bold. But there are decisions being taken in some quarters, and because one thing where you say again, some of the actions is simply political. But the question, not it's not a question. You the represent them. At the end of the day, the mayor will come out of this all clean, sir. I just they tease you into promising in followers them and the Sierra Leonean people.
Well, based on the case where the ACC don't put forward so far, I don't see anything in that case the relative to the laws then at the ACC book, we should see mayor don't commit any offense. I am
Okay.
positive about that.
Thank you very much, Lawyer Macaulay. And Famule Unayari, Lawyer Macaulay don't lay the case waste against the mayor. He even go on as far as for say it's simply political. And what we can do, Fambulem, we the challenge una. We've got the benefit of hindsight. The reports are all out there. Go and follow the trend. Look at what the mayor they do. Look at what he outline. Transformation, Freetown. Look at the political landscape. Look at in party where he belong to. Look at the position where you occupy. Try for study your local government act. And by the way, Lawyer Macaulay, yesterday I was in argument with a few people regarding local government act. The mayor waiting and accuser of. Waiting I do know is the sleaze na social media is having an effect on people because there's a lot of people out there when they go do the basic research for find out exactly who Mayor Akisoya is and what he they do for Transform Freedom, waiting at against them way they don't make and what he intend for do for the city. Instead, they are listening to, in some cases, few prominent people who at one time were enemies of theirs. But it's a kind of a maxim in which the enemy of my enemy is my friend. This is what is perpetuating in social media the drama. Only 20% of it is clean, 15%. But having said that, Lawyer Macaulay, fiscal year 2020 report. And I want some context, and let's develop some context on this because there have been other reports prior to this. I'm not going to your own time because we've discussed this before, but 2018, 2019, 2020 fiscal report, still in Parliament, not really been discussed holistically. It's been selective. Dr. Kande, of the NGC, if you not come out and weigh on this, can we discuss this report? Instead, it's been selectively, chosen. Now, whose page will they discuss or which chapter will they discuss? This is no discussion at all. But let me fast forward on to FY 2020, in which a client of yours, when at 2019, now in a column on. I want you deal with this, Lawyer Macaulay, in terms of 2019 report. Now, on that basis, they didn't call Yvonne Akisoya. Previously, it wasn't discussed in Parliament holistically by the Public Account Committee. 2020 report equally not been discussed and they in huge question mark. The credibility of this current government, as a matter of fact, sir, it they in tatters and in big question mark. And this is something that you're fully aware of. And I'm not posing this question to you only because your affiliation day with the biggest opposition party in the country, but on the basis of ethics, professionalism, reforms, institution, structural arrangement, your way for change the direction in which we they go. Lawyer Macaulay, help me for understand this, please, if you will, sir.
I'm sure you don't see images of fighter planes in action when then they receive fire. Basically, they get functions there within the aircraft where they throw flames. So you get missiles there when a heat-seeking missiles. What basically this means is that when they shoot the missile, it is propelled towards the target. Now, whose eye hits the commode, now they defend. I mean, they call a heat-seeking missile. So basically, the exhaust of the fighter jet, now they defend for heat, so that it could destroy the fighter jet. So waiting the fighter jets they do is that they get what they call afterburners, where they throw flames. Boku, 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 they throw flames. Waiting that they try for do is now for deviate this heat-seeking missile from hitting the target winner, the fighter plane, for attract them towards them flames because they self hot. So I can basically say now the kind same thing these governments they do, the bill government. Anytime when you get a huge scandal coming up, they will find something for distract the people of Sierra Leone. We get the 2020 report we come on and do we talk about say the office of the president, then forge receipts them, then fake documents them, then say they travel and not travel, then take double per diem for make me and you two not talk about time, then put the focus and attention on Yvonne Akinsoya. But it is the duty of all of us for remind the people they say that is a distraction tactics. Let us focus on the stealing on the massive scale we did the auditor general reports don't tell we say the not me say oh now waiting the auditor general report say beaucoup tip the way they take place in the government that the government of Sierra Leone, specifically the office of the president, they go to Lebanon and tell we say they pay these hundreds of thousands of dollars for this service or for this hotel. Where in fact, when we check with the hotel, they say, hey, no mix video that receipt, they know to we get. In fact, they not pay we it. Of course, we'll be a president, they tell we say we go Japan and be get for go pay bills them for the previous and his by my government, they left debts they well. Now auditor general report now don't tell we say they self left debts in Lebanon. So it is for you to judge. But as I say, let we not get distracted from waiting they happen at the country by their side show. I mean, they call the one issue a side show. Me they call the CDI issue a side show. They try for distract me from waiting they take place. And for some of us, we are focused, we are watching them every second.
Okay, Macaulay, many thanks for that. And I think say you resonate well with many a people because me or this platform na platform where they monitor social media. And there is a consensus on waiting you just say that some of the actions being taken by this government is based on distraction. And people are not study the pattern. Psychology 101, if you will like. So therefore, I pose this question to you. We also belong to distraction. But of course, now something I want for let you weigh in because I am a follower of your tweets, sir. And this therefore do with LSC. LSC is nobody of real significance, Lawyer Macaulay. But even you, in your eminence, you tweeted on something about nothing wrong with that, but the idea is that is what was trending then. But
It
in terms of
was.
what you just mentioned, sir, the distraction, I wonder you weigh in on the case in itself from a legal perspective, because that's what you are, legal minded. We are not in that same scope as you are. We are only asking the questions. But in that legal scope, the prosecution of LAC, the conviction of LAC, police evidence forwarded to the courts on the basis of where they convict him, and then the list where finally land at the president in desk of clemency or executive pardon, if you will like. And then the revocation process. It all smells of waiting you just talked about earlier on. Some people not catch up, but the young man come out and immediately it was high profile, taking photos with high profile people of government, including the Minister of Information, Honorable Mohamed Rahman Sware. We don't happen for apologize to the people because that was damning. That was indicative of collusion, but he apologized who will get the benefit of the doubt. But you understand exactly how they go. On the LSC case where you weigh in terms of your tweet, your perspective, sir.
Well, I weigh in on the LAC case not because of the character himself, but now because of the issue itself, i.e., a convicted murderer. It could have been anyone else. But waiting be really concerned me was that you get a convicted murder. We just spent 6 years and he gets a clemency. And let me give you this. First of all, when the president they give clemency to people, you get special people they win a murders and other offenses. You get forget a report from the judge we try the case, convict and sentence them for weighing on the eligibility of that person they forget clemency. Probably people will be surprised, but from the outset, privately and in social media forums, I mean, at the first person we come and say, look, I might not necessarily blame the president for this. The reason is this: the president get trusted people, the attorney general, the inspector general, the director of prisons, the vice president, and the head of the committee of clemency. They expect when they bring list to presidency, and then people we don't. I mean, not forgetting them people we are all professional people we them put together for do this work.
Enjoying the confidence of the president.
Exactly. We expect the president way the people the way he entrust work to way they're supposed for conduct due diligence before they do their work and can't go to president. For let president begin go ask for LAC in report you want for see the judge. No. I'm not blaming president beyond that at all. President Bio get the right for trust the people the way he employ and delegate work them for do. He get the absolute right. I mean, the governance of the state is so huge that if the president say they go into details for each and every little thing with the canine desk, I mean, the governance of the state not go move. So the president entitled for entrust and delegate some of the executive functions to people where you expect say they will get the integrity enough for do the right thing. So on that one, I will not blame the president. He was deceived and
Yeah, Lawyer Macauley, many thanks for that. And Fambul, and just a quick reminder that the conversation that we are having here tonight is with the astute and reputable lawyer. But of course, not everybody will agree with him because, of course, the man gets in friends and he gets in foes. Get people away diametrically opposed to what he stand. But what we do here on this platform is we provide all the background there for the owners that go sifter into them and make the decision as to whether who is right. And it's not about a matter of right and wrong thing, but how do we take the country forward? Because like I say from the introduction of this program, the interest of every one of us, or the common denominator na Sierra Leone, we want to see how Sierra Leone better. The approach, the methodology, na in belies the difference because some people belong to different party affiliations or different groupings, but we want all of us for make Salone better. In this regard, we get a few more questions for us. The Macaulay and want to say thank you to Ram because sometimes this is boring and these are big people and get many things where they get for attend to. We want to take a first commercial break, but just before we take them, and the only commercial break, this platform they advertise. As soon as I can see, we get over 250 people they watch. Of course, this is not a small number, but as a humble platform, so this means something big, and we know say it get for transforming to the thousands. Advertise with us if you got a business. Put political business aside. We know we critical of APC just as we are critical of SLPP. So not use this as a means not for advertise with we or for help for promote we. Don't be envious, I will say. And I'm going to say, let's take we first commercial break and only commercial break for tonight. And then we'll return to Lawyer Adi.
It shock you.
Wow. I like the setup and decor. Quite impressive.
You've not seen anything yet. Wait until you taste the food.
I can't wait.
Innocence. Money make you
Look at that.
I am sharper than knife, I am sharper than nail. Them are small like ant, I am bigger than will. My Baba gonna lift you up. Nobody will make you drop. Nobody will make
In Brixton, we do more of African food and seafood as well. In Peckham, we do more of African food.
A reception or function of any type, this is the place to do. Just do your booking on time and we can do catering for you.
Right, Fambule, and that'll be the only advert we get, and so far now we platform. Pretty soon, there are many other adverts. Like, for example, we go begin for advertise from Sierra Leone, and we hope people attend the courage. And one thing we can say, one of the adverts where they come very soon, probably with next production, is Olive Garden in Sierra Leone. That will be on that platform, I can assure Una. But please, come on, let's be Sierra Leonean. Let's rise above this politics content and find something common where we all can gravitate towards. But the main thing is tonight, we have none other but the renowned lawyer, the reputable lawyer at the Macaulay. Lawyer Macaulay, I won't go into another thing quickly. You have not, and I said that again earlier on, you not really sit on a defense where it comes to constructive criticism. You speak your mind, even though you are very professional and conscious. And every time you do that, that's exactly what you apply. You know, this is a position that you've occupied before. So who is better to speak on a position that you've occupied before other than a previous occupier of this position? You've appeared on this platform before and you've been critical of the present occupant, and that's not the ACC. So today, many months after we been get you on, things have shifted. The gears have changed. There's been a cultural difference. There's been political difference. There has been some legal differences. I want to let you give me your sentiment on the AC right now, sir, as we speak. Contextually, by the way, on many of the things that we don't talk about, vis-a-vis Akisoya, Lara Taylor, on how the ACC they conduct. And I want to give you something, yeah, way probably go tickle your brain because this is the perspective on where we come up from. In other words, some of the activities, sir, if you will like, of the ACC, which like say the ACC that's supposed to be a subsidiary body to Parliament is now even occupying the space of Parliament. We consider that a usurping of powers, or again the dereliction of duty, if you will like, or the same thing, abuse of processes and procedures. So, Mr. Former Commissioner, lawyer Ade Macaulay, what's your take about the ACC as we speak now and its commissioner who is becoming more and more controversial as issues are rising, Francis Ben Kaifala?
I mean, if I get you right, you talk about the commissioner occupying the position of Parliament with respect to the audit report, right?
Yeah, so I'll clarify that quickly, sir. Yes, you are absolutely spot on, but me not envy and I stand to be corrected. You are right on that one. But not only on that one, we also see, because with the study and the commissioner, as how do I call it? In terms of legal speaking, this terminology may not resonate with you because it means differently from a school of thought or a background come out. But providing offense, outside Parliament supposed for act or parliamentary precedents, I make a call on subsidiary. Now ACC now in the act in that respect, sir. I hope I make myself clear.
Yes, you're very clear, and I am on the side of Francis Ben Kaifala on this one. Starting with Joseph Kamara and myself, and now to Francis Ben Kaifala, we don't get this struggle with Parliament vis-a-vis Udage primacy over the Auditor General in report. And I will say bold that Parliament not get primacy over the use of the Auditor General reports to the exclusion of all other institutions. No, the only primacy way Parliament get is that when the Auditor General don't put together the state of the finances of the country, if we go lay them before Parliament, once it lay them before Parliament, it becomes a public document. Whether PAC look at them or whether the whole of Parliament debate at the well of Parliament or not, it has nothing to do with the independent actions of the ACC for look at corruption allegations were with the inside the audit report. So I would say very, very clearly and firmly that the Anti-Corruption Commission is not usurping the functions of Parliament. The Anti-Corruption Commission are the only institution now the country we get the power for investigate and prosecute corruption. And I will refer you to the Constitution of Sierra Leone Amendment Act of 2008. We basically take away prosecutorial powers from the AG's office and cede them to the Anti-Corruption Commission with respect to the prosecution of corruption offenses. So I am with Francis Ben Kaifala on this one. Parliament not get primacy over the use of the audit report to the exclusion of the ACC. No, ACC, after the report is laid before Parliament, can look at it any time, whether Parliament debate or not. For me, that is my opinion. And also on the issue of...
Yeah, go on, lawyer. Sorry, sir.
Also on the issue of the other controversies we talk about, you know, when you sit in that chair, it's a very difficult chair to sit in because most of the time you customers then go largely be public figures and politicians, and once you come into action and get contact with them, they get a surrogate the way where they come and attack you. And you know, even after I have left the ACC probably 4 or 5 years ago, just tonight on this show, you see somebody where they attack me, say maybe they target, you know, members of a certain tribe because you know, I mean, it make reference to the seal indictment where I be put out when I be basically indict the former vice president and other of presidential advisors then for the Hajj fiasco. And this is what you do as head of that institution. You therefore be so careful every time for make sure say the things that we not do, the things that we did do in your capacity as commissioner of the ACC, nor get mixed up in the political debate. And why do I say this? The Hajj affair come at a time where the All People's Congress political party, be they get them primaries, forget the flag bearer. And don't forget, the former vice president was a leading contender in seeking the flag bearership of the APC for contest the 2018 presidential elections. It was at the very same time where Abi investigates the Hajj issue. And based on waiting the day before me at the time, Abi get sufficient evidence where me and the prosecutors then sit down and reach the conclusion, say sufficient evidence there for indict the former vice president on corruption offenses, which I did. And I put them in a sealed, I file them and put them in a sealed envelope. It's called a sealed indictment. The purpose of the sealed indictment was that I not be one for interfere with the internal political dynamics of the APC at the time. Assuming, say, at the time when I be put together that indictment day, now the same time I pull them out and indict the former vice president.
Yeah, but if you can pause right there, if you can pause.
I am coming. Let me just finish.
Okay.
If now that 10 day I put them out, don't you think that I would have interfered with the primaries of the APC? I mean, not forget, it was just after the immediate aftermath of the Hillary Clinton and James Comey affair in America. You self see how the action of the FBI director at the 11th hour towards the elections, when he come out and make certain statements and pronouncement them regarding Hillary Clinton inculpability, how it affects the outcome of the elections. He directly interfered, in my opinion, in the politics of the day. So that was why I said, okay, look, there is something here. This is the indictment. I'll put it in the. I'm not even one for change my mind. So there was an indictment where I don't sign, where I don't put in me safe. So immediately things then get settled, we pull them out, and that was what exactly happened. So people criticizing me. Of course, you remember Charles Taylor. It is not a novelty. When the special court indicts Charles Taylor, he was indicted, but nobody not be know because his indictment was in a sealed envelope. It was a sealed indictment. And the reason why make the put the sealed indictment that day, one, sometimes the person we when I don't indict they on the run, if when I put out the indictment, he don't know say they don't indict him, he no go avail himself again for camp, or they will interfere with witnesses, and many other reasons why people they put out, prosecutors usually put out seal indictment. And I'm a career prosecutor, so I knew exactly what I was doing, and I believe I was right. And I had no political considerations for what I did. And it's easy for people to accuse others of wrongdoing and all sorts of things, but sitting in that seat, it's not an easy job. But when there is abuse of office, when you occupy certain positions, then it is for the public to see. The public, they know. I mean, you don't need for be a lawyer or for be a PhD holder for know when somebody they abuse in office vis-a-vis indiscretion and all of that. So when you talk about the ACC commissioner, you get to be very careful in your actions there. If not, you'll be involved in the politics of the day, and that is where we are at the moment. I mean, it is not my opinion; it is the opinion of many Sierra Leoneans that the ACC at present is basically involved in witch hunt based on political affiliations. That is the opinion of many. Sorry. So yes.
Okay, lawyer Macaulay, there is much said there. Last year, when some of the things then where you say the beginning with the last opinion where you infer, which is yeah, the people in the public then hold an opinion of the ACC, some relevant, some irrelevant as to whose side the ACC stand. Remember, Macaulay, some people, including this platform, get the benefit of hindsight where we can look into and then pause them. For example, you mentioned the 2008 rules of the ACC, something where you very familiar. This amendment never existed under you when you headed that department or that government commission, but at some point after you left, this new administration of ACC people enjoy this benefit you never had. You talk about statements waiting and they put in an envelope, and close them and what have you. And you mentioned one of the greatest country again, United States, as and in your opinion, one of the reasons you mentioned and I forgive some degree of sanity and independence. It's not usually so because you make the decisions. In most occasions, you can be tempted, you can be afflicted, you can be conflicted. So even the way you make sir can be one of you tilt towards the or you just use the processes and procedures. We say well there can be a seal indictment, but your opinion, people can make that judgment today, but it doesn't come across as when you make come and see them, not to the responsible. You mentioned James Comey, a situation we are very familiar with, who was the who was fired by Donald Trump in a tweet. Now, in company, now they call him, even they address, yes, some issue, regarding FBI. Now they say, but say, if you get the competency for address this situation. And that was it. Donald Trump fired him in a tweet. But James Comey, the FBI director, was fired. When they fired him, he became bitter. He unleashed Many story them, and that been get with Hillary Clinton in 30,000 email, Donald Trump, and you are right, James Comey in elections because things tilt based on the opinion assessment on the perspective of the FBI director from Hillary Clinton to Donald Trump. But I mean, just they do professional due diligence. So with you now, sir, there were things under your administration when you were the ACC boss, things the way you see. I know the impression or what I take from what you say that I beg to disagree. Independence. It was a process, and you envelop them, and we can make the argument on the basis of today. But this is not where I want to go. I want to go back again to the ACC. Most people then go say, then go surprise. Also, you get right on this. Is your professional ethics where you outline from the beginning. So even though there's a conflict in of people name your party affiliation and your profession, in between there somewhere, there is the possibility about you. And throughout this interview, articulate that and you've articulated well until this point where I want to take, a pushback, not take on you, but a pushback. You represent Akisoya. You're representing the former president of the republic. Very powerful man. And by some extent, the most powerful man at the country today, aside from the presidency in terms of fame attached to the people. Lawyer Macauley, the point that they try for make, sir, is this. Let me back quickly to the point, because we get a few other things to talk about before we come to the party. Remember, say, we're not even talk about the APC yet, and there are many issues, but we will come to that, sir, trust me. So, Ernest Baikoma, Yvonne Akisoya, Arapia Taylor, the ACC, which you are headed and familiar with, although things have been amended, and there are people who are saying that this amendment will not make a quality in place that then can implicate. They look at body language. I look at you, the furrows on your forehead, and I say this publicly, and I know say you are engrossed in what I'm saying. I love this, and you know that, sir. Client, Yvonne Akisoya, there is a contradiction here with the ACC agreed with on one principle. The amendment where they make 2008, section 89, 1B, something where they on top of your head, and I think where I know say you know, and me just the struggle because we do research and come. Yet you agree with the ACC boss. My question, even though Ibokuwete ask, do you then agree with this same application in terms of your client, her worship, Yvonne Akisoya?
Okay.
I guess you pick up everything else.
Okay. Let me give you this. You
Yes, sir.
you get different types of public officers. You get public officers where na elected public officers. You get public officers where na appointed public officers. We get special laws them. We deal with how they remove them or suspend them from office. So we get this principle of law on how you they interpret statutes. It says that you not go left a statute where they apply specifically to a situation. You go take and apply a statute of general applicability. What do I mean by this? The Anti-Corruption Act, I believe section 135 and 136 deal with the issue of suspending public officers that have been indicted of corruption offenses. Well, it generally deal with public officers. But what about them public officers where get special law where they deal with how they remove them and suspend them from office? Take, for example, a judge. If you say you they indict a judge, you get provisions na the Constitution section 137 where basically lay down the procedure wey they use for suspend that judge day. Then you get the Anti-Corruption Commission Act, section 136 and 137, where they deal with the generality of mankind on how you they suspend officers where they don't indict on corruption offenses. If person dey where they don't indict on corruption offenses, you get special law the way apply on how you dey suspend and remove them from office. You know they left that law they can apply the Anti-Corruption Act. No, you know they left the specific and can make use of the general. So that is one bit. If you want to know how you dey remove the mayor from office, how you dey suspend them from office, go back to the local government act 9 deal with them. So that portion of the ACC, they not get nothing for do with them. That is my own legal opinion. You might get other lawyers there we would disagree with me, but that is my opinion. Hello?
Yes, sir?
Hello?
Yes, you hear me, Lawyer Macauley?
Yeah, they get you now.
Okay. The reason why you can see only yourself is deliberate. We go deliberately because especially when you home in on certain issues about you and you only. So people that they watch live view, they are only seeing Lawyer Macaulay where they're making points. So thank God,
Okay.
yeah, we agree with self. But again, there are a few issues for that we conclude on. And I want to rush to a few things. You no need for address them exhaustively, sir. And I hope say before you left, I believe say you day on holiday with your family, and I wish the family well. But before you left, maybe we'll get one more in which we go try for making just 1 hour. But interview is all important because it's about clarification. There's so many misappropriation, misgivings. I put people like you, reputable a man like you. I don't have anything which makes you other than political. They represent the regime and what of substance we go make me, you think other. But now what I think of you is so far as a professional lawyer, professional politician, a scholar, and they represent your client. So I want moving quickly, because we have to come to APC and we want to address issues. And I want to begin with this. And then I see the ruling on the youth cap, if you will like. Now, some people agree with, NAC don't endorse that. My question, just if you una take this with a pinch of salt, una decide, normally, una not for agree because una go challenge that. But in this case, because una played full up, this is just the platform they say, una played full up. So let's agree with this and let's move on. What's your view on this ruling? Way and people up to the PPRC agree with that, and your NAC party don't end this. Give you quick view, Macaulay, please.
Well, it's not just the youth issue. There are quite several other things in way, you know, PPRC removed from the APC draft constitution. For example, the legal team of the APC was brought in and placed within the structures of the party. PPRC disagree with that and say no, legal team no need for them within the structures. And then Pula and not to say any lawyer complain about that, because the reason is this: you can still offer your services to the party without you being within the structures of the party. And
Okay.
as you say, the issue of the youth age, it is an issue where Bokuna the party no agree with, but at some point, the party get for move on, and
That's my
that is
point.
what the
That's my point, sir. So many people in the party not agree, but the party need for move on. So this decision was taken with a pinch of salt, but we will compromise this because we need to move on. So there is some state of urgency.
Well, exactly. That's the point, because you cannot keep litigating while you take your eye off the ball, and that is the effort for remove the bio government through the ballot box in April
Okay, Lawyer
2028.
Macaulay. Yeah, thank you very much, sir. And on removing the bio government, so I want come to neck. We have seen the normative process, in other words, the cooking of election processes for tilt or favor a particular side. In this case, you did the negative. Well, I say the negative side. I mean, you need to influence the situation on a governmental level. Remember, say at some point, now you not been the government. And the argument in our media is you've been in a government, yet you were kicked out. And I use the term pejoratively. You were kicked out of government.
No,
Now that
no,
you did out, okay, yeah, you are in, yeah, go on, sir, go on.
no, no. Go on, carry on, yeah, carry on.
Oh, okay. Now that you are out of government, the PO government has learned from, yeah, then things and they are in government now and don't put things into place in which going into this election, we see the normative process. In other words, the cooking of election processes and procedures, which brings me to the question or perspective of NEC, the National Election Commission. And PPRC, I want to go into the mix because I want to mix everything together. And APA, the appointment of the commissioner for NEC, and then looking at the western area, now Freetown, the appointment of Zainab Mosiri, a very colorful and known politician, stroke representative of the SLPP party, where in record is clear. Anybody will understand them in the service of NEC. I mean PPRC, not NEC. Zainab Mosiri, where now they now the western area of Freetown. And the politics generally about northwest, not northwest, and everything regarding NEC, PPRC, and APA. What are you party in position, sir?
Well, to be honest with you, with respect to the appointment of Zainab Mosire, it has been very clear, the party in position, that they object to any appointment, because the provision of the constitution is that the president, in consultation with the opposition parties, go appoint the commissioners of NEC. Waiting President Bio do, starting with the chairman of NEC down to all the people he would appoint as commissioners. He merely informed the other opposition political parties rather than consulting them in the appointment process. And that is a fundamental flaw. And the reason why you do this is you get the opposition parties to get involved in the process, so that when we all come together and get a consensus on an individual person for be appointed as commissioner of NEC, then it brings credibility and integrity to the process, where the opposition go say, look, we are going into an election to be decided by the voters, and it is the commissioners of NEC that have to announce the results, that have to see through the process, even though not the president appoints them, but it do in consultation with us, and we don't see through this person in character, in behavior, and everything, and we are satisfied that a person of integrity way will execute in functions independently without fear or favor. But unfortunately, Zainab Moses, she's a very young lady, I am made to understand, and it's sad that her appointment is so clouded and shrouded in controversy that I am not sure she's very comfortable where she is.
Yeah, many thanks for that. And I look for short answers because I want to come to the APC and deal with that before we end this program. And we really don't run deep into this, but I must express appreciation to you for your time because you're on holidays with your family. This is something that we deeply respect. And Fambule, once again, this is not the TNN TV media empire, and we are in conversation with the astute, the professional, the brilliant lawyer. And when we make their description there, or use the descriptive terms there, we're not doing here for only try for raise the profile of the gentleman whose interview we are having now. You need to just go back. And when they say you can't have your difference, because of course, one man's meat is another man's poison. But let's be factual. Let me look at the record. Back to you, lawyer Ade Macauley, on the issue of procedures and processes and this particular government. And you've been very generous in terms of Zainab Mosiri, even though you express doubts and support the evidence in terms of the normative process, including electioneering. There's something I want to also bring your attention to, and why I want to let you weigh in, which is about the midterm census. That and I captivate the minds of the people them as well, and this is a major thing, Nasalon. As we speak, me understanding are they in deep conversation with some of the players them way involved in the midterm census. The midterm census, which I want to let you express, if you keen for Wisa, is there is a timeline, it's time frame. Constitutionally speaking, we just the on go forever. So when the president institutes them, what I want for your address, the president in right for call on a midterm census, the duration, the period, the process, the donors, and what have you. And to this point where we are, giving you perspective again on this midterm census where most people are not declared as botch.
Well, firstly, it's also my opinion that it has been botched. It has been a complete failure. But again, I always try to draw the distinction between the power to do something and the process in the exercise of that power. There is nothing stopping the president from calling and for a census. And as we know, we traditional periods the way we don't conduct census that after every 10 years. But this particular president decides, say, just in the eve of elections, we can do a census process where we believe say it is purely political because they want to interfere with the electoral map of the country. But the president gets a right for call an electoral process, a census process. But there is a process to that. For let the president declare a census, you get to go through certain stages, and after they don't lay the instruments now parliament, now the tell you get for start for do with cartography and many other things. But what happened in this case is that the statistician general starts the census process. We they want them, and I don't know what is wrong with this government. Anytime where anyone parade and perceive as being anti-BO government point out anything now say this not correct too, then they take an now saying that because we they oppose the BO government all the time, now make in fact what they talk not get any sense. And we really tell them say you cannot engage in a census process without the instrument being laid in a parliament. It was only after they don't go through 50% of the preparation, the cartography, and all of that. Now they can realize, oh, in fact, the president for don't go lay a bill, a statutory instrument in a parliament for empower we for start this process for conduct a midterm census. Now the 10 they're gonna be into money where some kind ala go take place there. And again, Dan itself gets a question. Was the instrument properly laid before parliament when the maize was absent in parliament? Can there be a parliamentary sitting without that maize? These are all legal questions. But the point why they try to make this is assuming without conceding that in fact the instrument was properly laid before parliament. What in the statistics say alone for don't do now for go back and start for do waiting they already don't do, because that is the right thing to do and that is the legal thing to do. But what they do is after the laying of the instrument in parliament, they just continue as if nothing wrong no be don't take place. And the fact that you don't go to parliament and lay the instruments not cure the wrong things that we don't do in the past. So as far as I'm concerned, it is an illegal census in the exercise of the powers. It's an illegal census because there was one, the census process start before the instrument was laid before Parliament, where they give the authority. Now, an instrument, now a parliamentary statutory instrument, they give the statistician general the power for start the process for conduct a census. But what happened in this case is that the statistician general start the process where he don't carry out 50% of the process. Like turn now President go lay an instrument before Parliament, and the statistician general, before he go back and start Usai be begin, it just continue Usai the instrument meter as if nothing wrong not happen. So there are serious legality issues with this census, backed by the fact that the census has been a botched one. I mean, the census don't be gone. I know when they see census, we don't take 3-4 months from December. From December, the census still they take place. And guess what? Now, Badina Day, nobody know when they go na news. Nobody know when they call me now. They not count me yet. They not count me nanny yet. They not count me security. They not count nobody. And I call me neighbor then ask they say, "Bo, una see any census policy card?" They say, "No, we don't see one policy card." So me, I don't know how they count this control.
Macauley, you get for
Yes.
you get for ceasefire right there, because again for forgive me, because after all, the business we talk about, in as much as it's serious, but sometimes they, because of the tension, we can cut with a knife because it's so tense. We really need to inject, some humor into this, and this is what the learned lawyer has done. He injects humor into rhyme, so much so that I've been here for laugh. When I forgive me, I don't take it lightly, but of course it was funny enough that I laugh. That today, this man live in the heart of Aberdeen, a busy district, a formidable, a part of freedom. He's not been counted. And not only no more they tell me this. A day na statistics Sierra Leone forum them, few of them, are they in tandem and in connection with people from statistics Sierra Leone. And the place where they derive the information from, as per me tweet and other things them, is because of people who are relevant to the conversation, who are germane to the conversation. And this is where I come from. Not to people and we just they come and talk. And I want to thank you so much to Lawyer Macauley. I mean, Lawyer Macauley, I want to move on, come gradually to your party. I want to talk about the defection of a high-profile party to another. The ramification, what does this actually mean? And I'm going to call names because, after all, it's not secret, not a secret deal being done. Alpha, the apprentice, the famous apprentice in inverted commas, has moved on and decided for joint platform with the SLPP. And not a small profile or small defection, because this man was huge in your party, and so much so that when he transfer or defect to the other party in recognition of his status and waiting supposedly a for mean, then give this extraordinary position where, if we can follow pattern of the intentions or motives, as we say, and you're a lawyer, you get critical mind. Now, for cause a division, application, or how you go call them, of the people that will vote, generally for the party where you belong to. So can you just weigh in? And I don't want to let you belabor on that or waste time on that, because we have a few other things for do. But will you express your sentiment or opinion on the Alpha Khan defection? What do you mean, A, for the party, and whether you get any effect?
Well, usually I like to give narrative and context to the answer, so people firmly understand
Please feel
within
free,
at the
sir.
stage.
Okay, please feel free.
Yes. So, I mean, in close to the elections in 2018, in fact, Alpha Khan, I believe, was just the regional. He held a regional position. Now the APC executive, now the Botloko district, I suppose, and at some point he was the spokesperson. But in 2018, you get no less a person than the former chairman of the SLPP, Somano, Chief Somano Kapen, defecting from the SLPP to the APC. Did that help the APC in winning the 2018 elections? No. So I am not worried about Alpha Khan leaving. I wish him good luck personally in whatever he seeks to gain from his defection or his appointment as a minister of the Northwest with cabinet rank. What a novelty! But I am not worried at all. I mean, you see, in law, when you defect for property, basically title to property, we get a judgment where they call the Musa Abbas judgment, where that judgment they basically they tell you say when you defect for land, not rely on the weakness of your opponent in title, rely on the strength of your title. Which I mean, you say, hey, my lord, not to that man they get that land, no, na me get and the judge ask you, wait make you get her because that in paper they in paper no okay. The judge say okay, yes, in paper no okay. Show me your own paper. You know able for show me, you know able for sure your own paper. So these are the points why they make. Not to waiting Alpha can do go determine whether the APC win the 2023 elections. Now waiting APC do now go determine waiting whether or not the APC win the election 2023. And this is the message way basically I get for the one way they lead the party. One, stay be focused and stay on message. Tell the people of this country how the country be there. Almost the dollar be there in April 2018. Almost one bag rice be there in April 2018. Almost one bag cement, 1 ton iron cost in April 2018. Almost okra, 5 okra. I understand it be 200,000 in 2018. Now na 2,000 euros. Almost pepper cost. Before then, now be 2018 April. Now 10,000 for 1 cup pepper. I think this is the message we for tell the people them and tell them which plan you get for them for make a better selling for them for improve their lives. Not about Alpha Can. People should forget about Alpha Can. It's a personal decision you make. You know, I mean, to be honest with you, it doesn't really bother me about the we don't see in history where people they defect from one political party, they go to the other political party, where basically they are based in those big parties where they defect from, but it not gets any effect on the electoral fortunes of that party the way he left. So I believe say Alpha Can in electoral the electoral effect where Alpha Can in defection will be very minimal, and it depends on how the APC react to him. And the best way for react to him, in my opinion, is to focus on the message of how you are going to improve the lives of the Sierra Union, how you will make life better for them than they are today. Remind them whether yesterday better past today. I mean, for me, that is the message.
Macaulay, many thanks for that. I lost you for a few seconds. I already be the same anyway, but because now you want to be focused to the international world and the local world, because I've been read comments. But here is the point, and I've been read few commentary from the postings them on social media, and interestingly, a name Jibril Samfa Bangura, been they say a few things will come as a surprise even to myself. We they accuse you of whether you they say the truth. I know how you deal with that. I just they say that was a bit surprising. In an age where we can clone somebody in profile, and I they wonder, in terms of the questions then, but I know say, or hopefully you go follow the trend in people communicate or be busy in the chat room. But we need for move on, sir, and I go say thank you very much for what you just say. But as they come to specific issues of the APC, one or two more points quickly against this, not exhaustively again. The legality of the currency change in our country. The reason why they post these things to you is because you come up from the legal background. And these things, that would disregard the sleazy stuff, the drama around them, but from a legal perspective. So again, lawyer Ade Macaulay, the legality of the currency change in the country, the new currency where we can get, waiting it represent, and how it get for go in tandem or parallel with the old notes. But as I they listen to the bank governor, the reason why I say they get for go parallel with the old notes is because the old notes will be in use. But as people use them, they go withdraw them because they're going to knock down a couple of zeros. So I don't know whether this now your area of strength as well, or you can say something about them because you get for do something with inflation, knocking down the zeros from a currency, make the currency relevance and get a little bit of weight. Your sentiments, sir.
Well, to be honest with you, I not don't pay much attention to the legality of all this currency issue, but this is the view I get. The timing of the change of the note is very suspect. You know why?
No,
Um,
sir.
this bio government always they try for take people for a ride. I mean, as I mean, they talked few minutes ago, and they make comparisons between almost Pepe because and almost Pepe because now. So by you knocking out those zeros, people go find them very difficult, especially the layperson, for able to understand the dynamics of the change in the inflation rate from the time way Buchanan power to now. In terms of monetary value, in order for change the value of you money, if you dey buy something 5,000 leons, then not come out to 500 leons, not to reduce the price, oh, because if you say they receive 5,000 leons salary, they knock out the three zeros. Now 500 leons salary they receive. So let nobody not feel say when they knock out the three zeros and you get forget smaller units of currencies where now go be the quote for prices for product, they mean say the product. I mean the same economic power, the purchasing power where you 10,000 leons gets today. Now the same purchasing power you 1,000 leons go get when they knock out the three zeros. So I mean that is my sentiment. It don't make any sense. Work on the basic macroeconomic issues then for deal with issues then we go increase local productivity of product the way we dey spend so much foreign currency we will not able for generate. For me, those are the issues that we should deal with. Knocking down three zeros. In fact, it therefore make things they increase because um, you do maths. They can tell you say round up the figures. So if something because 568 leons or 79 leons or 580 leons, when they pull out this zero, if it cost you 5 leons, it is something cents. But basically, it will just raise them up to 6,000 leons because you know, will notice, say, in fact, they don't increase that because now knock they knock down zeros. So it's going to have its own side effect from which we already which happen in Ghana and other countries, the way they don't do really domination.
Yes, sir. Obviously, it's going to have its own effect, whether positively or negatively. But what in the bank governor say, Mr. Kalon, is then study the same country there where you talk about, where then go into the your redenomination process and the mistakes then where they make. We hope not for and this should be an added advantage to we as a country and the people. And one thing I get for say as well, fumble them is like Adam Macauley make and clear. Of course, this is not an area of strength, but he has an opinion as a stakeholder and he expressed that opinion. He might be wrong or right, but we need for wait again, just like on some issues, we get the benefit of hindsight. Thank you very much. Lawyer Macaulay, as we move on again to the issue of coming finally to an end. I'm not even going to the yet, but we go there quickly on the issue of corruption, which many people then believe say they grow exponentially. One of the key issues that were happening recently na the national team, and it seemed like say opportunities can be taken at given times in which for exploit the consolidated revenue fund. In this case, the most prominent one of late, we talk about we're not even talking detail about receipts them that were forged, which is a new law, if we can talk about that. And Fambul, and this is just a fact. Receipts that were forged, we talk about the day before yesterday or 4 days ago on the platform, waiting and submit to the Auditor General office, headed by a new auditor general, which we understand cannot even confirm because it's not certified for sign or certified an audit report. Unfortunately, I'll not be able to ask Macauley. I'm not going back to that. But the point here is 7.5 million because you know possibly they follow social media trend was allegedly spent on 3 weeks of campaign by the national team. So we see personal videos of the president and the wife where we know saying a drama queen, and I go say this in expression. Yeah, let we say now it was an excitement. I give President Bio a pass on that because of course if we want to see genuinely the national team prevail. But 7.5 million lawyer Ade Macauley for 3 weeks of campaign. And we see we compatriots or the country as a whole under green, white, and blue being thrown out of hotels because they can't keep up with the financial obligation hotels. $7.5 million. Your opinion, please.
I'm not like for make the opinion. I'm not like for give opinion on issues the way I not get the facts.
Fact.
But this is the point that sometimes you not go wait for the fact. Just the stuff way up and they lead you to certain kind of conclusions, and there are many questions than answers. So we wait for you waiting the people that will be responsible for the expenditure will tell you.
Thank you very much. And this is what clever people do. And I hope they will not take you from the landlord. You not just come and be flip on social media, but it will be made at some point. And so many of us have it wrong. So I didn't really understand. But because not on basis day, no need for me to go through that. Lawyer Macaulay, thanks for this then and now media empire will come back to the same thing, but we show the form to media empire. We bring warm greetings on this evening on the 11th day of February 2022, and we're coming towards the end of the program. On the All People's Congress Party, it's adoption of the new constitution supposed to take place. But there's any fanfare around them. And when I've been here for going to court, the court mission, I'm so happy for getting because you leave, you grab with the court. You video don't. Are you there, sir? Oh,
The phone that basically break.
Okay, you hear me now, sir?
Okay, I get you now. Like just give power to him.
That's right.
Okay.
Take your time.
Okay, yes, go on.
I'll put you back into this is not the powerfulness of social media. When you're not physically available, things they go on, we can remove you and we can put you back. Absolutely necessary. And from what I see from a preview, Lawyer Macauley has addressed you and is back. Am I correct, sir? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I did get you, but there is a break. I mean, it's basically the break along the way.
Probably internet they either play up or are they see side professionally. So I go on. Sometimes there are delays. Things that they try for make in terms of reform. Remember, say at the beginning of the program, we talk about structures, we talk about institutions because are the bigger things we want to talk about. Even though we talk about sleazy and drama stuff, but important because we also know say on social media we are speaking to some certain constituents, but notwithstanding, there are very many people on social media, and where people like you, some eminence, this big eminence appear, we need for. So what I've been saying, sir, is the All People's Congress, finally, will talk about the institution of the All People's Congress. We're supposed for involve election. It's bien in terms of the timetable, constituents them, people who belong to the All People's Congress, and this support election determine going into the main elections in 2023. there seemed to be a delay. I wonder whether you get what you try for say at the Macaulay, because probably I put it correctly, but sometimes you get can understand exactly where you're going. And if you do, sir, will you please address this?
Well, as you know, the multiplicity of court actions by members of the APC against the APC don't kind of interfere with the electoral calendar of the party. But thank God, we don't reach a point where our litigation are at an end. For example, the Alfred Peter Conte matter, we don't argue and done, and we wait for the judge for come out and give a judgment on the arguments as presented by the various sides, and also on the constitution. We don't get a fully draft, final and resolved constitution endorsed by the PPRC. It will be and it will be gazetted in the next few days, and 2 weeks after it will come into effect. I believe, say, the journey to State House in 2023 for the All People's Congress has started.
As I engage you, yeah, I take a cue from which you, and this is heartwarming, especially to all people, Congress people that are listening, because this is what they need to hook up to. And when they come to the end, this is almost the end of the program, and waiting you say, can you provide some substance, not just words, like kicking out the other people out of come 2023? Provide some confidence for the listeners of yours, the fans of yours, the fans of the All People's Congress. Why them for believe what you they say that come 2023, this is what is going to happen, sir.
And you know, when they talk about the All People's Congress, a political party, it's not an edifice where team I've seen at the party this. The party now me and all the other ordinary members of the party. And we believe, say, this government don't keep we under oppression for a very long time. For example, with me now, every time when I reach Lunge for travel out of the country, they could take me out of the queue. Now immigration to the side and tell me, say, I am on a list, we then call the no-fly list. We then get Nalunge, and anybody we named in that no-fly list, they know they allow them for go. It's
But you
embarrassing
had
for
a
me, but
similar under your erstwhile government, not exactly as this, but of course, in the name of national security, you do have names that you can pull out and say, well, we need for talk to you extra. Just to go through the formal process, present your passport, stamped, welcome to Freetown or Sierra Leone.
no, not to dandy. What they say is there is a standing list called the no-fly list, where you basically the immigration people that they tell you, say, you named in at this list, and without an express authority from the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, we know they allow you for board the plane. We get permission from them for allow you for board the plane. Well, nobody know when they came me go police. ACC no one they invite me. Nobody know came me go commissions of inquiry, and nobody know get that power there for stop me when and how I for left me country and not for left
So
me country.
I'm gonna pause you there, if you will allow me, please. And I need for pardon, because we need for understand this as time not in we favor any longer. And I must say thank you very much. So this list where you did describe lawyer, it seemed like it go all the way back to some period, and this has been a subsequent time. Are you saying that years ago, because I read about a list, a no-fly list, you need for get clarification from some ministry or somebody? 2 years ago, 3 years ago, that list up to this day, sir, it still exists?
The list still exists. When President Bill take office, as of the 4th of July 2018, we, the president, take over as the president of the Republic of Sierra Leone. after the GTT report come out, then put together a list of people where basically is a laundry list of former appointees of the EBK government, where then say they're not for allow them people have for left the country. So basically, my name was there for 3 years. I'm not able left Sierra Leone for come out for see me family and all that. From where President Bio take over government, now only in December 2020, where I able for left Sierra Leone for the first time and travel out of Sierra Leone. And to be honest with you, you face quite a lot of embarrassment. I mean, they will stop you for 45 minutes. They will pull you na immigration. Can you go na the ONS office for go sit on there? They get for call this person, call that person. I mean, you are basically treated like a common criminal, and that is basically unfair. I am a responsible, decent Sierra Leonean way. The only bad thing what I don't do, in my opinion, now for take out time from private practice will be really, really, really lucrative for me and come and say, look, I don't get a lot from this country. Let me give back to the country and decide for work. And when people see me as a political appointee when I was at the ACC, yes, I was a political appointee when I was at the ACC. But I want to make people they understand this. They're not going to pull me from anywhere and come appoint me as commissioner of the ACC. I grew within the ACC organically. I was a prosecutor at the ACC for about 7 years, and I rose up to the rank of chief prosecution officer. I was the chief of prosecution at the point where they appoint me as commissioner of the ACC. So me take as a professional growth within an institution. I mean, so when you come and treat me as if I'm a politician, it's unfortunate, and that was what the Bill government did. I mean, they put me na a GTT report where they make reference to me in so derogatory way to a point that when they apply for international jobs, they will always come back to the statements the way they make about me na the GTT report, and that
Okay,
is very unfortunate.
okay, like, and I don't know why that should come as a surprise, knowing we politics fully well, that you belong to one side of the political argument or the political landscape, and they go against, or the other side they come against you belong diametrically opposite to where they stand. I don't, for in goodness sake, understand why this should be something we for appear like say is strange. But this is our politics. You belong to the People's Congress, and then take
No, but
over. Therefore,
I completely disagree with you. I mean,
why, sir? Why, sir?
All throughout Dr. Anes by Kurmain government from 2007, correct me if I'm wrong, there is not a single member of the former appointees of the President Kaba government where anybody don't stop Nalungi say you need a pass here.
So let we agree. No,
Not
no,
at all.
no, no, Macaulay. So let we agree on that. And this now we implicit biases that we talk about. So such was the time then, and somewhere as we speak now, time they don't change. The politics is
But
completely different now.
no,
When
we
Ernest
should
Bai
not
Koroma,
accept it. No, we should
no, no,
not accept
no,
it.
no, 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 Macaulay, 1 minute, sir. I am not implying that we should accept it. That's a different argument altogether. I don't agree, and at the same again with strong emphasis, I don't agree that we should accept it. It's an abuse of power, and we should resist it at any cost. But what I'm saying is, times have changed. The government of the late Bakaba of blessed memory, and as Bakoma take affected many of waiting at the tradition, and you will know this do. Accepted, say, most of the traditions that we inherit from Pakaba will carry on. Pakaba take them on before it relinquish power as an understudy. Take them now, public places, take them abroad on conferences, and the transition was smooth. Completely, it's a 360 if you go like the Macaulay between the All People's Congress 28 and that of retired brigadier. Will you agree with that, sir? That's just a fact. Hello,
Okay.
Macaulay, are you there, sir?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay, yeah. So let we left that. Let me kind of move on because I want to move on quickly on the basis of the same All People's Congress. Um, I want to take we back to the court. And Udan are the right person for talk other than you. The APC is in court. There's a glance in the process. The SLPP don't do their own convention, not elect and leader position into place. Yet the APC is lagging behind. Your opinion, sir?
My opinion is that 1 week is a very long time in politics. 1 year is a very, 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 very long time in politics. There is still time for us to go through our convention process. Don't forget, when the APC was in power, the elections were to take place in February 2018. When did they go into convention? They went into convention in September, October 2017. So it's just depends on how determined and organized the APC is. They can be determined and organized in a year and they will still win the elections. It's for me now the message you get forget a message of hope for the people. You get forget aspirational message for the people, and you get for make the people understand. Say when you win elections 2023, it is not going to be business as usual. That is, you win election, you begin one after the previous government. No, 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 no. Once you engage in that, you'll find yourself where the Bill government has found itself today. Instead of delivering on its manifesto promises, it's busy running after people. And you go on after people until you lost the elections.
Okay. Many thanks for that again. And Fambulem, we get less than 5 minutes for going to this program, and we get for a summation process. I just remember how you get for kill the process, because when I say the process, what I mean, this not in domain. This summation about analyze this entire interview and the way forward and where we are, etc. This is just going to be an opportunity. But having said this, Lawyer Macauley, just quickly, sir, I know say we engage in a debate in which we try for advance, whether theoretically, practically, situations them in most occasions where we get the benefit of hindsight, but in other ones that we're in a learning process. What on our constituency, one the way you mentioned earlier, and you mentioned that now some people don't talk extensively. For goodness sake, Lawyer Macaulay, for the interest of this broadcast in the future, I just cannot fathom how 110 on two occasions, if not three, that the government is so determined, the government of President Bio is so determined for take that particular constituency day, that they resort to all kinds of tactics in which you have expressed the same, that government officials, in full view of a rolling camera, their ID cards, their social, any of that outcome. And to this day, there has never been a prosecution about 110. That is quite telling. On a different interview, I will ask you about this, and you just deal with this all together. This is our opinion. But coming to the point of closure, Lawyer Macaulay, the APC, we dey make the case because some people then go think say, well, again, we dey associate and affiliate the platform with the APC. We're just talking about issues of justice, equality, that if you come to the table, with equity, you have to come with clean hands. We haven't seen this as such. There are biases that are built into our constitution which favors the ruling class. And the reason why I mention this at the time, you were a member of the ruling class. So there will have been biases, some of them inherent, some of them implicit. Today, you are on the receiving end of the stick. Here we are, we talk about the system. We talk about reforms structurally and institutions and what have you. This great lawyer of ours that did on the platform today, dear, I beg, there are almost 200 people in the Watch We Live. And I promise you, of this program, there have been thousands around the world. Thousands where don't watch this particular program. Tell me exactly where we are, where we were, where we are moving forward in terms of this thing I just talked about just now. This, you as the lawyer. In other words, contextually speaking, all waiting they have. The reason why we labor and they take a cue from you, you provide context. You said that in this interview. It's different. It's in the same vein, like Macaulay, that I provide this context and now they ask you for a response. So,
With regards to,
okay, good question. Many things. We talk about the disparity between government, the then and then. Once upon a time, you were
okay, I get you. Okay, I get you.
okay. You
So
get
yeah, so I get this message, and I think this is a message that goes not only for the present government but also for the APC. If when the APC take over governance in 2023, as it is going to be, if they carry on of the policies of hate, division, we SLPP embark on at the moment, it is the same way the people are going to reject the APC and be at odds with them if they carry on with the same policies. So this is my message. For a change, let us come to the point where we all agree that we may have different ways of wanting to do it, but our general aim and our collective and mutual aim is for make sure say Sierra Leone develop to a nation where everybody able for provide a meal for their houses, able for look after their family, able for get equal access to the law, able for rely on the justice sector for give them justice when they seek justice, make them able for go to hospital and seek medical attention when they need them. I mean, these are the things we should be fighting over, not about, Udana Mende, Udana Tini, Udana Limba, Udana Loko. I mean, the effect of corruption that they choose, the effect of social instability, not they choose. So I think it's time that for us now, the ruling class, the political class, the intellectual class, for stop this, dishonesty and say things as they are and try for unite the country as it is. The country every day they divide further. There is a huge gulf. I mean, if anybody tell you say you not divided, it's a joke. People that wanna be my best friend, wanna be close friend in 2018. They like today, we not to enemies, oh, but because of political difference, we are apart. Of course, I maintain quite a few of them, but this is just the reality, and it shouldn't be so. It shouldn't be so. It's a very small country, So that is my advice for all of us, not just for the ruling class, but the ruling government, but also for the opposition, also for the ordinary people that we sit on our oath. Because this issue of divisiveness, the politicians, they're only able for succeed when they're able for filter and down to the ordinary people. And the ordinary people actually they implement them. People the way they live in the same compound as others, where basically they take the political message from the top to the bottom. We must stop these things.
yeah. Lawyer, Lawyer Macaulay, I want to say a few things before I address just we will round up the interview by giving you the final say, something where you're so familiar with, which you almost have done, but then because we're not being seen, so we will equally give you the opportunity. And Fambul, and what I want to understand is we've gone beyond the required time, and we therefore respect Lawyer Ade Macaulay because he's on vacation with his family. Most times, as per my understanding, he is away from his family. He come on this, time for can enjoy his family, and here we can't engage him back in a 3 hour conversation. Never did I anticipate for 3 hours because he always kept the room open. He could have said no, but we continue for say that why in the interest of nation. And I'm serious about this. Therefore, come for hunt we in the future. It might not be now, but we appreciate you for the sacrifice way you don't make sir. Um I'll say one or two things because in five, what we don't do now, we don't do 2 hours and 3 hours when we plan this. We got about 7 minutes for making 3 hours. And I want to say thank you very much. Instead of ask you a question, because I think I've asked all the questions, not all of the questions, but you don't address them. I think I want to, at this point, we get 6 minutes. And 6 minutes in terms of talking time. It's a lot of time. If you pay for it, they charge you for that. 30 seconds, 1 minute, it's a lot of time. So I want you use the next 6 minutes. You don't have to use all of it if you can a day at your doorstep. For just summarize what you don't talk about and what you think, waiting at the way forward. But you, the position we offend with F, the ACC, Therapias Taylor, the FY 2020 report, corruption at the presidency, forged receipts, issues, lawyer de Macaulay. So please use computer and the time to let you summarize. And this now your area of summaries. The floor is all yours. Thank you very much.
So basically, we don't talk about a myriad of things then, starting from corruption to you name it. But they all come up from just one thing: respect for the rule of law. What do I mean by this? Where you na a leader na a country, you respect the rule of law. That is, you follow the laws them with the constitution. Don't lay down say na so you for execute executive functions. Once you follow there will not be a problem. If you na commissioner of the ACC, you follow the rule of law. That is how the law tell you for go about your work. With problems, they don't finish. If you are a public servant, you play with government money, you get law we tell you how to play with government money, you follow. The problems don't not go there. So for me, we get one takeaway. That is the rule of law. Respect the rule of law. Once you respect the rule of law, everything else they fall in place. Thank you.
Macaulay, can I use this opportunity for say so much, sir? I know say you
You're
did
welcome.
around for a while. What we can try for do, we can try for put people on the spot. You don't have to, but you've been very generous to this particular platform. And the reason we go say it's only because we want to speak the truth and we want to address the general public needs of people. Today we take you on 3 hours. And okay, not specifically for day in the know. I just, but can we have another program, at the Macaulay, in which at the day it won't go more than 1 hour? But in this occasion, we want to address issues them specifically because there were so many issues that we addressed. We're happy for that, and the Sierra Leonean people we will cut this all into a segment, maybe for MP3 and throw them out there. Where it costs so much for download and upload, provide voice message for them. But we want to get you on another day so that we go talk about specifics. It never did 1 hour guarantee. And are we going to have that, lawyer?
Well, we will settle on that. You and I will settle on that.
There we go. Inside the DNA, this is it. We will settle on that. No commitment, but we will settle on that. And on that note, lawyer, deep respect, sir, deep love, and I appreciate you. Thank you so much for this interview.
Okay. Thank you to listeners and viewers. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much. And ladies and gentlemen, that was lawyer Ade Macaulay. Very interviews addressing many, many issues of way we think say relevant. And hopefully we will talk about Macaulay. In this case, not to 3 hours interview, quite exhaustive. We're going to break this interview into 3 parts of 1 hour each. And then we're going to break down for the general public, especially in a salon. But on behalf of the media empire, I've been your host, Prince on alive. Will not forget for tuning tomorrow. Superman, Mr. Mohamed Kamara, will day on the loan program Empire. For now, I think we did enough. Good night. And the reason why I struggle with this, as I speak to, we get almost 108. We're still so I can find a route for for close the program down. Disrupt. I really know 100. So wind down because the program, yeah, now begin for wind down. 71, and I know say you're not going to go down more than that because as people, other people, and they engage. But thank you very much to all. Good night and goodbye. Prince Emil Kroma, 11th day of February 2020.